Shalom, shalom. You already know, man. We back in it in the spirit once again. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Thank y'all, brothers, for tuning in. Those of y'all coming on the replay. Those of y'all brothers on the panel. We got a good one. We talking about the war that Esau is not talking about. The war that's been right in front of y'all brothers' faces in movies, in cartoons, that you just didn't know because you wasn't under the understanding that it was biblical prophecy. We talking about the war in heaven, aka the final battle in space, where Yahweh Shai, the archangels, and the 10,000 and 10,000 of chariots come to destroy the earth and save up the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. So we about to break down that chapter, which is Revelation 12. If you an Edomite, don't tune in. If you a heathen, don't tune in. If you somebody who doesn't care about scriptures, do not tune in because we about to give it heavy edification. And I got my bros, my ox with me. You know what I'm saying? Ghetto Genius, Hitman, Malak, y'all brothers, y'all opening statements.
Hey, shalom, y'all, shalom. Let's get into it. First and foremost, just want to give all the praises, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. And let's get into it. We got to go to a full Revelation 12 breakdown. And let's get it. The Lord with it.
Yo, Swin, I think you cutting out, bro.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you good now. You said Lord and then it stopped.
Yeah, I just said Lord will is edifying.
All right.
Khan, just want to say Barakatah Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Harakwadash, Kwame Yasharallah. Hopefully we can edify y'all brothers and keep y'all informed to what's about to come.
Yes, sir, man. All the praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. May we continue to receive our daily bread, mental, physical, and most importantly, spiritual, through all our transgressions. May the Most High Yahweh be merciful to us by continuing us to be in the spirit to understand the deep layers and layers upon layers that the scriptures give us, man. And we're going deep with this one tonight. So let the peeling begin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And this one is going to be extremely important for y'all brothers, especially the brothers, man, because y'all are the main ones who can get the heavy meat and the oil of the scriptures. No disrespect, women, but these things is kind of hard for y'all to grasp. And like I said, if you are the heathen nations, there's no way you can understand the mysteries of the Bible. I was actually looking up pictures in regards to this topic. You got people talking about the woman, and Revelation 12:1 is Mary, and literally they put pagan gods as quote unquote the woman in the Bible. You when you look at it, you got people talking about this is fallen angels. You know what I'm saying? They talking about, yeah, this is where fallen angels come down from heaven and Satan comes down. And honestly, it's just a lot of confusion, man. So what do y'all brothers just give like a quick 1 to 2 minute breakdown of it? And then I like the picture, by the way, of Colonel Alistair. But y'all brothers just give like just talk about, quote unquote, the war in space, and just give like a little brief summary of what you think that's gonna be like.
Yeah, before we go into the breakdown of Revelation 12, just a quick summary, in terms of the war in heaven. Man, it's gonna be crazy around that time. We're literally gonna see, and we gonna get into it later on in the chapter, but we literally gonna see, fucking everything that Esau got, every form of weaponry that Esau got under the sun. We gonna see, we gonna see him pull all of it out. Everything he got, he gonna pull it all out to fight Yahweh Shai, Michael, and the rest of the holy angels. Man, he gonna pull everything out that he got. So it's gonna be a crazy time period.
Facts, bro. Y'all got anything else you want to add, bro, or no? Well, if not, my take on it, when I watched what is it called? Independence Day.
Oh damn, I was just about to say that, bro. My bad.
Hey man, you gotta get closer to it, man. You know what I'm saying? But get back to what I was saying. Independence Day is a great movie for y'all brothers who want to understand biblical prophecy and what's going to happen to this world. Independence Day is gonna happen, but there ain't gonna be no coalition that destroys the aliens and the aliens get sick and Babylon gets spared. Nah, nigga, Babylon is gonna get destroyed from here to there. And what I want to do, I'm gonna bring out a precept in Revelation 18. That way, y'all brothers understand, because all these words come from the Most High, man. Whether it's through Yahushua, whether it's through the disciples, whether it's through the prophets, they're all inspired from the holy word of the Most High. So I'm gonna get Revelation 18, and then I'm gonna get verse 9. It says, "And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning." And how is Babylon gonna burn? With nukes, with bombs from the chariots of the Most High, which is about I think he says 10,000 times hotter than the sun or something like that, bro. We're gonna have wine press out here, man. We're gonna have, bro, all type of stuff gonna come. So that's why we don't want y'all brothers to be on the earth at that time, because it's literally gonna be the worst thing that you could ever go through in your entire life. And while you in the kingdom, if you're not deemed worthy in the eyes of the Most High, you're gonna have to relive the shame of knowing that you got destroyed by the holy angels of the Most High for forever, for eternity. So make sure that you don't get caught up in this, because this is some serious stuff that we about to break down right now.
Con, and this is a serious, heavy laden chapter right here. And Revelation 12 was one of my favorite, actually one of my favorite chapters in the Bible, because it's so layered with so many double-fold prophecies and so many, and it bounces back from present to past to future time period. In the time when John the Revelator was on the island of Patmos, when seeing this vision right here, it bounces from the present time period to the past, in terms of the birth of Yahushua, to the future, to the time that we literally living in right now. So it's such a beautiful chapter. And without further ado, if y'all got anything else y'all want to say, figure let's go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, real quick, just give a what's the best way of putting it? Just like a brief little this is like more of a general understanding of things. Just in case if people don't know, there are three heavens. You know what I'm saying? There's heaven on earth, which is more spoken from a metaphorical sense, if anything, because it's more so representative of what happens when you have a clear mind, or if the Rakakadash is on you directly. You know what I'm saying? You're able to establish peace and order on the earth. And then, of course, there's heaven in the skies. We're just talking about space, what's beyond, our terrestrial ground per se. The stuff they like to make up about that, saying, we can't go up there. I'm saying? No, that's bull. I'm saying? Niggas up there, just they're not all the way there. They're not all the way to the of course the ultimate, which is the third heaven, which is the spiritual realm, which everything underneath, which of course the Most High created a firmament between the third heaven and everything that we live in it. The second heaven, there's all the planets, all the planetary bodies, the quote unquote universe exists in. And then of course we live in the first level. We live in the first heaven, which is heaven on earth. So just to give that brief synopsis, especially for all these woke idiots out here, all these flat earthers out here, just give a little brief synopsis of that. And of course, all these pseudo religious people, especially if you're trying to break out of that, you need to understand the concept of heaven. And obviously hell isn't your understanding of hell is automatically bullshit by just reading things like Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. So that definitely doesn't work. But the understanding of heaven is a little more complex, because there's not really necessarily one precept that literally explains all three at the same time. That's something, that understanding gets broken down all throughout the scriptures. And I said we always bring it up, Isaiah 46:10, declaring the end from the beginning. So the understanding of the three heavens is explained from the beginning literally to the end. So it's something that you literally have to read the Bible and understand it in order for you to get the understanding of the concept of heaven. Now, of course, one would think that you're not an Israelite and the Most High is working with you. So always keep that disclaimer on us. So, you're Israelite, you need to understand that. Anybody else, who cares what you understand? But let's keep going.
Mhm. Well, with that being said, you want to get into it?
Con, let's go ahead and get
Con.
into it. Actually, I want to bring out a precept real quick, just based off of Ghetto's point. This is the book of Luke, the 17th chapter, the 20th verse. When you get the point. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of the Most High should come, he answered them and said, "The kingdom of the Most High cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, Lo here or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of the Most High is within you." So that's the thing. That's what Howard Shaw was saying. Like, you're looking for where can I find the kingdom of heaven? The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's within your mindset and your understanding. And when you grasp hold of Yahweh Shah, so that's when you start to ascend mentally and you get in a heavenly state of mind. Now, of course, our state as a nation, we're still in hell as a nation, but you within your own personal mind frame and understanding and wherewithal, you live as much as you can in the heaven-like state as you possibly can while in captivity. And basically, who's on top or who's on the rich in society or who's reigning at the top, they're in heaven. And we're gonna get into that later on in this chapter right here with dealing with Esau Edom. But like Esau Edom is in heaven right now because, and like Ghetto was saying, that's not talking about he's in the realm, he's in the heaven with the Most High. No, he's in heaven on earth. That's the first or the third heaven? The first one or the third one?
First.
That's the first. Okay, yeah, appreciate it. I always get those mixed
Esau
up.
would be in the first because that's just talking about Earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's in the first and the second heaven. He's in space as well.
Well, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. He's in space. Yeah, he's in space too. Yeah, we're
Right,
gonna get it. We're gonna get into that too. Yeah. But I always get those two mixed up. I always switch the three and the one.
And for those of y'all who need a better understanding, I did a lesson on it last week about the state of heaven and hell, so y'all can check that out if you need more in-depth breakdown.
The water for that. But yeah, I just want to get that right there because it explains, that this is the words of Yahweh Shah talking about, explaining, how the kingdom of the Most High, basically is within us and us as a nation. It's within our nation's, realm as well. In terms of if we follow the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High, if we're on top, if we're on the bottom. Of course, right now we're the tail instead of the head, so we're in a state of hell. But and our enemy Esau Edom is in the state of heaven because he is the head. But that's all gonna be turned around very, very shortly here. As the scriptures say in 2 Ezra 6 chapter 9th verse, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So their heaven is about to be trampled down. When we gonna get into all that, but their heaven is about to be trampled down and downtrodden, and our heaven is ascending. Our heaven is coming. So it's a brief understanding of that. But yeah, we can go ahead and go to Revelation 12 now. Can y'all hear me clear?
Yeah, you good.
All right, con. So this is the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter and the first verse. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So let's go ahead and get that right there. We just gonna go. Basically, how I'm gonna do this is just gonna go about the chapter. I mean, about the precept, and about a verse and whatnot, and you can explain a point and whatnot. And of course, y'all brothers chime in anytime y'all want with the precepts or sayings, understanding and whatnot, and we just go along with it that way. So I'll be stopping periodically throughout this chapter. Let me get that again. This is the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter, and the first verse. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So the woman, let's get that understanding of the woman first, because that lays the foundation for the entire chapter. If you think the woman is talking about some other goddess entity or some
Mary.
kind of, or Mary or some kind of fallen angel or or an actual woman just of some sort, then your entire understanding of Revelation 12 is going to be off. So the first
Bible period.
Yeah, the whole Bible period. Yeah, that's true. The first precept I want to get on that is the book of Jeremiah, the 6th chapter.
After that, I got one as well, because this one is actually the precept that I'm going to reference is starting to come up more and more in Bitch's profile. So I'm going to have to go over it.
This is at Jeremiah 6:2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So that's what the woman is, the daughter of Zion, basically the nation of Israel. Now that is twofold because the daughter of Zion also is the women of the nation of Israel, but the daughter of Zion as a whole is talking about the nation of Israel. So
Mhm.
that's what the woman in Revelation 12 is represented. Just showing right here how the Most High likens the nation of Israel unto a woman. We are the woman of the Most High. So yeah, just Revelation 12, the woman is talking about the nation of Israel. But go ahead, brother.
What you mean?
No, Ken, you said you had a precept.
Yeah. This is one precept that starting to come up a lot more, which if you're a lame brain or a simpleton or just a simple ass motherfucker when it comes to the scriptures, because that's one thing I've always, just in general, I've understood that the average person is smart as fuck when it comes to every other book. But when it comes to the Bible, man, that's how you know the Most High is on this book, because you know what I'm saying? When people start reading the Bible, they just turn into complete dumbasses and they just get lazy as fuck when it comes to like research and truly understanding context. So I want to get let me um let me get Psalms 46 starting at verse 3. Though his waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling, Salah, there is a river whose streams shall make glad the city of the Most High, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. Now here's the big one. Psalms 46 verse 5. The Most High is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. The Most High shall help her just at the break of dawn. Now I'm reading this in the newer King James version. I'm just gonna go to the original, well, the 1769 version, whatever, and I'm just gonna read it again. Uh, the Most High is in the midst of her; she shall not be moved. Actually, I said the same thing. I'm gonna try to read in another translation. Let me see. Let me see. Yeah, I'm reading the New Living Testament because this is the one that a lot of motherfuckers like to use today. Uh, let's see. Psalms 46. And this is what's so stupid because they'll try to say, oh, well, it means a woman, right? Well, let's read Psalms 46, verse 5 in the New Living, quote unquote, New Living Testament. The Most High dwells in that city. Hold on, let me say that again. The Most High dwells in that city. It cannot be destroyed. From a very break of day, the Most High will protect it. So what does that mean? When if you're looking in a translation and it says it works in her, Psalm 46 and 5 is talking about a city, or the nation, nation of Israel. It's not talking about no damn woman. Like the Most High, the Most High's power is not working through no damn woman like that. That's ridiculous. That never happened. You know what I'm saying? So and we know that the nations are damn, what's the word for it? The analogy of nations is to the woman because obviously everything on earth serves the head Yahweh Shai,
Come.
who's he is the uh metaphorical woman to the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So everything is written in a metaphorical sense. You know what I'm saying? When we read the scriptures, you got to understand, or just continue to understand for us that English is not the original language. So when they when they translated everything into English around what late 1500s, early 1600s, they had to write a lot of things in a metaphorical format because uh we were so far away from reading things in Hebrew or Paleo Hebrew or Greek. I believe Phoenician, if that's the way to call it, from what I know. And then like English is just a combination of the Greek and the original English is a combination of the Greek and the Latin. So even with that, we don't even speak that English that was spoken in
Come.
the 1600s. So everything had been written in a metaphorical sense, and that's how you know you're either meant to understand the scriptures or you're not, because it's not, depending on the translation, some of the words might change around But if you're trying to be a simple ass motherfucker, you're gonna get the message wrong. Like your message is only gonna your understanding of the scriptures is going to sway with the wording that's in there. When in all reality, if you pay attention to the context, or if you have an overall understanding of the Bible, you would know that the nations, especially the nation of Israel, is a metaphorical woman, i.e., a servant to Yahushua, who is the metaphorical woman slash literal celestial servant to the Most High Yahweh. So that's that understanding has to be established no matter what no matter what scripture you're reading. That's why the Bible states declare the end from the beginning, because that foundation, you can't lose it no matter what book of the Bible you're reading.
And this is an easy way to understand when it talks about women. I mean, when you think about in regards to first and foremost, the daughters of Zion commit adultery. I mean, how can a nation commit adultery? How can a place commit adultery? It's talking about a person, but it's talking about Israel as a whole, because we're all a people. We're all a nation of people. So this is Ezekiel 23, verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother. So think about it, the daughters of one mother. Verse 3, and they committed whoredom in Egypt. They committed whoredom in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the teats of their virginity. And the name of them were Aholah the elder, and Aholibah her sister, and they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters. Thus were their names Samaria is Aholah, and Jerusalem, Aholibah. So when you think about that, they had a mother, right? Now, obviously, the mother is talking in relation to Israel. So when there's two women, it's talking about the kingdom being divided into two separate nations. That's why when you read in, I think it's Amos, where it talks about how the northern kingdom of Israel was committing spiritual whoredom.
That's Hosea.
Or Hosea, my fault, with Assyria. You got to understand that it's a metaphor. So whenever you think about the woman, you know, obviously a woman, she goes away from her husband. She commits iniquity. She commits adultery. What does the husband do? He kills her off, which is what the Most High did to a good majority of our people. But more importantly, if you're not able to kill off the woman immediately, completely, because the Most High, he made a promise that's everlasting. What happened is you cast them away until she's learned her lesson, or until she's had a new daughter who isn't as defiled as the first one. So that's how you understand what the woman means in Revelation.
The Water Brothers, for bringing out those points. And I just want to bring out a quick precept to land back on some points that y'all made. The first one, actually, want to go before I get that precept. I want to just go back into that Jeremiah 6:2, because like Kitten had mentioned, a beautiful point that you mentioned in terms of the literal meaning of woman, you know, being a servant. The scripture say, I've likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman. So what? A comely meaning a pleasant, you know what I'm saying? A good, a godly, a goodly woman. You know, basically just going to a woman that presents herself well to the Most High. That's how we're supposed to be as a nation. We're supposed to present ourselves pleasant. The word comely goes into pleasant and good and beautiful. That's how we're supposed to present ourselves via keeping the Most High's law, statutes, commandments. That's how we present ourselves comely to the Most High, with that comely woman, aka that comely servant, that beautiful servant, that pleasant servant to the Most High. So the Water for bringing out that point about the woman and meeting a servant. But I wanted to get this point as well. This is Revelation 21:3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and He will dwell with them, and they shall be His people, and the Most High Himself shall be with them and be their power." So as Ken was reading the Book of Psalm and all that, how a lot of these women try to manipulate and twist those scriptures to liken it unto them. The Most High's tabernacle is with men. So he's not dealing with women on the level he's dealing with men. So you can miss all that right there, because that's not what you're trying to say it's talking about. That's not what it's talking about. The Most High's tabernacle, the Most High's his foundation, his understanding, his spirit is poured out onto men. Now, am I saying that you have women out there who can't receive the spirit of truth? No, of course not. You got women out there who are in the truth, who abide in the truth, who are keeping the laws to the best of their ability. You even got some women out there who understand a little bit of some prophecies. They know that we're in the last days and things like that. They know they may be able to break down, a little something here and there to their children and whatnot, but in terms of deeper level oil and wisdom, that's what the Most High in men. That just is what it is.
I wanted to get this precept in Genesis as far as when it talks about the sun and the moon. Let's see. Genesis chapter 37, verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream and told it. This is Joseph, by the way. Genesis 37, verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream and told his brethren and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and his brethren, and his father rebuked him and said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee? So, I just kind of find it interesting how close that is. I don't really know too much about that, but
Con, you know, and that's that. I'm glad you brought that out right there, because you know when you go into that that leads into my next point with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head the crown of 12 stars, because the crown of 12 stars, that is talking about the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. But when you go a little bit earlier, you go up in that precept, going to the sun and the moon under her feet, you know, that's going into that's a representation of the understanding of everything under the sun, the understand the basically really the law, statutes, and commandments. That's a representation of the law, statutes, and commandments, just deeper level understanding, and just you know how the Most High created, you know, the sun and the moon, you know, the Most High created the nation of Israel to serve serve him via his law, statutes, commandments, and abide them and obey them. And I want to get a few precepts on that. But the first one I wanted to get right here before we go into those precepts about the 12 stars, meaning the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, having the sun and moon under their feet, being the creation of the Most High, aka the law, statutes, commandments, just like the sun and the moon. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the 14th verse. For she is a treasure unto men that never faileth, which they that use become friends of the Most High, being commended for the gifts that come from learning, Salat. The Most High hath granted me to speak as I would, and to conceive as is meet for the things that are given me, because it is he that leadeth unto wisdom and directeth the wise. For in his hand are both we and our words, all wisdom also, and the knowledge of workmanship. For he hath given me given me certain knowledge of the things that are, namely to know how the worlds were made and the operation of the elements, the beginning, ending, and midst of the times, and the alteration of the turning of the suns and the change of seasons, the circuits of years, the position of stars, the nations of living creatures, and the furies of wild beasts, the violence of winds, and the reasonings of men, the diversities of plants and the virtues of roots, and all such things as are either secret or manifest, them I know. For wisdom, which is worker of all things, taught me, for in her is an understanding spirit, holy, one only, manifold, subtle, lively, clear, undefiled, plain, not subject to hurt, loving the thing that is good, quick, which cannot be lettered, ready to do good. So I want to get that right there, because they're showing that this is Solomon right here, a king, the wisest king, you know, of the nation of Israel. You know, just showing right here that, you know, he had that deeper level wisdom, that deeper level understanding of how everything was created under the sun and the moon. Everything under the sun, you know, according to the Most High's will, Solomon had understanding of, you know, going into him having, you know, that deeper level oil, that deeper level wisdom. And ultimately, you know, via the law, statutes, commandments, via, you know, via, you know, the holiness, the undefiledness, you know, things of that nature, which come from the law, statutes, commandments. He had understanding of that when he was righteous. He had understanding of that before he went off, you know, in his older years before he went off. You know, he had understanding. He was given that understanding from Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. And of course, Solomon was of the nation of Israel, and that's only given to the nation of Israel, aka the crown of 12 stars, being a representation of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And I wanted to get another precept as well to go into that. I want to get two quick ones. The first one I want to get is the book of Psalm. This is Psalm, the 147th chapter and the 19th verse. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. he hath not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord. So just as we read in Wisdom of Solomon, the 7th chapter, the reason why Solomon was able to get that deeper level understanding of everything under the moon and the sun, everything, the deeper level, oral and knowledge, like he said about how everything was made, and that being through wisdom, through the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, an undefiled spirit, things of that clear, things of that nature, is because he was of the nation of Israel, man. Because he was a king of the nation of Israel. That's why he was a Jake. He was Jacob, like it says in Psalm 147. He showed his statutes and his judgments. He showed his word unto Jacob. Solomon was a seed of Jacob. So that's why he was able to have access to that extra knowledge of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua underneath the sun and the moon and things of that nature. Because, like I said, that also being a representation of that deep-rooted knowledge, which ultimately on the highest level is the understanding of the law. And I want to get another precept as well to get into that point, dealing with our forefather Moses. Chapter. I'm gonna read the first verse, then I'm gonna go down because I want to get the point. It's talking about Moses. And he brought out Sirach 45:1, and he brought out of him a merciful man, which found favor in the sight of all flesh, even Moses, beloved of the Most High, and men whose memorial is blessed. He made him like the glorious saints and magnified him so that his enemies stood in fear of him. Now I'm going to go down to verse 4. He sanctified him in the faithfulness of meekness and chose him out of all men. He made him to hear his voice and brought him into the dark cloud and gave him commandments before his face, even the law of life and knowledge. And he might teach Jacob his covenants and Israel his judgments. So this, as we read with Solomon, having that higher level rooted knowledge and that higher level rooted creation of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that was also given to Moses on a different level. That was also in a different way. But I was also given with Moses as well, with executing, through Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, what we call today the Mosaic Law. So Moses had that, as well, because why? Because he was of the nation of Israel. He was a Jake, like the scripture says, Psalm 147. He showed this word unto Jacob. And I'm gonna go down to verse 17. He gave unto him his commandments and his authority in the statutes of judgments, that he should teach Jacob the testimonies and inform Israel of his law. So Moses was in charge of informing Israel of the law, statutes, commandments of the Heavenly Father, because he could understand, he could grasp it, and he could teach the nation to do so as well, because he was, a Jake, man. You think about that story of Moses and whatnot, when Moses' his father-in-law, Jethro, was basically telling him, hey, man, slow down, you're working too hard. That's because Moses was in charge of everything, man. The Most High gave Moses all the understanding, and it was Moses' job to give the understanding to the nations. Now, his father-in-law did give him some wise information, telling him basically delegate tasks to certain men and whatnot. That way you don't overwork yourself. And Moses took that advice, but basically the point I wanted to get with that is that Most High gave it on him, and Moses had all the understanding to in order to execute that task and to do that task. Until he had, other men, help him, he raised up other men to help him do so and whatnot under the advice of his father-in-law, Jethro, who was a Midianite. So I just wanted to get that right there as well to bring out that point.
And I just want to say this, in regards to what we're talking about, that's why I titled it What the UN Isn't Telling You. It's because they don't really have an understanding. You don't have an understanding, and neither do they. They're doing certain things because they know certain things. They don't have a full grasp, which is what Swint's talking about. This is Sirach 39:1. But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High and is occupied in the meditation thereof will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient and be occupied in prophecy. So when you become a man who gives your life and you devote it to the Most High and his knowledge, you can get this understanding. This is something that 99.99% of people don't even understand. Like most Israelites don't even understand like Revelation 20. Most Israelites don't understand Ezekiel 38. Only the wise men of the nation of Israel have these type of breakdowns. So when it comes to you brothers, whoever you are on the chat room, you know what I'm saying? You're essentially setting yourself up to not only be a watchman, but to be a wise man wherever you might be. Because you got to understand, when we in the jungles, in the wilderness, there's going to be a lot of people who don't know what a chariot is. There's going to be a lot of people who don't understand what's going on. And the only source of knowledge that they're going to have is you, because you're gonna have what? The Bible. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta always remember that. So
Con, exactly. This Bible, that's why it's called a sword for a reason, man. It's powerful. It's a book full of power, understanding, and knowledge. And you take this in your mind, man. You got a full, grasp, in your mind of understanding and knowledge, man. So you gotta take this in. That's why So like you watch that movie Book of Eli with that white man. He's basically telling this book is powerful. This book is knowledge. This book has power to affect the minds of the people and whatnot. And it do. It's just, of course, he was doing it in a wicked. He was looking to do it in a wicked way, like Esau Edom does. The higher ranking members of Esau Edom know and understand to a certain extent the prophecies and whatnot, and who it's meant for. That's why they hide the faces of the judges, like it says in the book of Job, the 9th chapter, the 24th verse. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and get that real quick.
And real quick before you do, that's why you also got to understand when people say the devil knows the Bible too, it's talking about Esau, because he knows some understanding of the shit that we're talking about. But go ahead, get that.
And
this is Job.
My bad. I just want to say after you get that, I'm gonna piggyback off of Young High Flyers point and your point when you get done.
Khan, this is Job 9:24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So, like Young Ha was saying earlier, this Bible is powerful, and Esau, Edom, they know that this Bible is powerful. That's why they hide the faces of the true judges of the word. Because if we understood, we were the judges, we were the kings, we were the gods. If we understood that, then that would literally change Esau's whole economic enterprise, man. None of that shit that he sells to us will be able to work. We wouldn't be distracted by the Luciferian boule distractions they cast out in society for us, because we would know that we would understand that we come from royalty and that royalty runs through our veins, man. We would understand and we would know that we come from kings and priests and prophets, man. If we understood that, none of that bullshit that Esau even throws in us would take us off of our mission, and that would take down his whole economic enterprise, man. Because the economy of the world, let's just be real, the economy of the world is pretty much ran off the backs of entertainment via the Israelite man.
Exactly.
I'll say that the entertainment of the world and the economy is stimulated through, the spending power of us, not understanding and recognizing how powerful, via being the Most High's children that we are, and not, trying to do it, basically not try to be owners of things, but casting ourselves as consumers of products, because we don't see the worthiness within ourselves. We look at like the saying, the white man's ice is colder. Like we look at everything that we put out, we look at as a lesser value than what the white man puts out, because we don't understand as a whole within our nation, we don't understand that there's literally that we literally come from kings, priests, and prophets and royalty, man, and they come from wet dogs, cavemen, and sloppy seconds.
Yeah, but Ken, you want to get your scripture, bro? And then I think we should go to the next breakdown of the verse.
Yeah. I want to get Hebrews 11, verse 20, because you brought out a very good point about because we've already talked about this before about how the devil is Esau and things of that nature, and how Esau understands the Bible just as the elite do. They understand that. But I just want to get real quick. Hebrews 11, verse 20. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. And I remember reading this not too long ago, and I was confounded by that. I'm like, he blessed Jacob and Esau? But then I thought back on the story, and it's like, well, yeah, because both nations are the two main characters in this divine movie that the Most High has created. So both forefathers had to be blessed with the same understanding of how this story ends. It's just that one is going to work towards fulfilling it, and the other is going to work towards usurping it. But of course, Esau is just going to get deceived in the end. But I want to get but actually, just to sum that up, the elite, like you would consider us and other brothers in this truth, at this point, the select few brothers in camps that that have not completely gone off in their zeal. You could say that we represent the elite of the quote unquote elite of Jacob, the world leaders, the banks, things of that nature. They represent the quote unquote elite of Esau. So it's two elite squads going at it to basically playing a big fucking chess game.
And that brings into the point of the meek shall inherit the earth, because from that grand perspective on a carnal mind, you think that, you know, us brothers are lowly and they're brothers of prestige. But in actuality, you know, it's the complete opposite. But we got to wait until that time period comes when the earth is given into our hands for that to be fulfilled.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, like, that's a great point that you brought out, Gail, because you look at, you know, who's the judges of the earth right now. The judges of the earth right now is Esau, Edom. You know, his and specifically his high ranking nobility, his wicked elite, his dukes, his you know, his the high ranking government factions, the top banking families. They run the world right now. They're the judges of this earth. But who's gonna be the judge of the new earth, man? The 144,000. And I just want to get a quick precept. When I go into frequently, but I just love this precept. This is a Wisdom of Solomon, the 3rd chapter. I'm gonna just get the point. I'm gonna start at the 8th verse, and understand that this is talking about the 144,000 right here. I'm not gonna read, because I'm not gonna read the whole chapter. I'm just gonna get the point. Verse 8: They shall judge the nations, and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. They that put their trust in him shall understand the truth, and such as be faithful in love shall abide with him. For grace and mercy is to his saints, and he hath cared for his elect. So it shows right here that the elect are going, like the elect in verse 9 right here, the saints, the elect in verse 9, starting with the 144,000, are going to be doing the task in verse 8 of judging the nations right there. Mm-hmm. So the new judges, like Ken was, that's you know what? I got to give you credit for that, but I've never heard someone say that before.
Yeah,
I ain't never heard that was cold point, bro.
Thank you.
I ain't never heard no one say that before, bro.
Yeah, that's
I just started that. I don't know, like 2 milliseconds ago.
Yeah,
that's a cold point.
When you said that, I was thinking it in my head too. Like, damn, we are like the elites, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because we literally doing the dirty work of the Most High. I mean, it's not dirty work, but you know,
it's the elite versus the hopeful elect. Man.
Exactly. And that's another. I want to get into that point, because that's another reason why the Most High, he gives y'all, but he curses you when you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, because it's like, if you can't see the power and the prestige that's right in front of you based off of the truth and the understanding, then honestly you don't deserve it. You know what I'm saying? That's a big scoff to the Most High, because you gotta treasure this truth above any other thing in life. I mean, the man himself, Solomon, said it. He's seen nothing under the sun that's more glorious than getting the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and salvation of the Most High. I mean, he was an example of what happens when you forget that. But at the end of the day, he said it himself, man. So that's why you brothers got to cherish this truth like it's a diamond.
I wanted to get this one quick precept to go into.
All right, get that, and then Swim make your point, and because we got to cover a lot of precepts. So
I want to, but before
go ahead, bro.
I want to after you say that, Hitman, I want to go over a word or a term that we talked about a lot, because it's actually going to bring further context to pretty much the rest of this chapter. But go ahead, Hitman.
Yeah, I'm gonna just this is Matthew chapter 19 verse 30. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So going back to what they were talking about, the elites are at the top right now, and we are at the bottom. But the verse before that pretty much it's talks about anybody that forsakes their loved ones, their house, or whatever they might have. That's a representation of the elect, what the elect are doing.
Exactly, bro. Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead, Ghetto.
Yeah, I want to touch on this word real quick, because it's actually featured in Revelation 12, and we talk about it all the time. Wilderness. What does that actually mean? Well, as the scriptures say, prove all things.
You want to get that when we talk about it? Because that's I think the 5th verse or the 6th verse.
Yeah, it's like you want to wait on that one, or
Yeah, I think you should wait on it till we get to that part of the when it says the dragon will come after the woman and she will have a place in the wilderness.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know, we'll wait on that. Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead.
just say that.
All right, Con. We could do that then. So let's go ahead and go into verse 2. Let's go back into Revelation, the 12th chapter. So this is
All right.
Revelation 12 and 2. You can pull the blue letter. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Revelation 12 and 2. And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to deliver. So the reason why, Revelation 12, you gotta really, the spirit gotta be working with you to understand this chapter, because when it says and she being with child cry, because you could say right there, okay, well, y'all just said that the woman is not talking about a woman. Now we're saying she being with child. Don't women give birth to children? Yes, that's true. And women do give birth to children. And this verse right here is talking about, on a fleshly level, it is talking about on a worldly aspect, it's talking about Mary giving birth to Yahweh Shai. Because that child right there is talking about Yahweh Shai. When it says, and she being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. So what this is going into right here is going into the amount of travail that was going on when Yahweh Shai was being born, when he came on the scene. And I just want to go into to just get into that whole understanding about that time period, when Yahweh Shai was born, had to flee into Egypt and whatnot, and how it was also a fulfillment of prophecy right there. So like I said, this she right here being with child cried, travailing in birth. So on a fleshy level, on a worldly level, that is talking about Mary. That is talking about Yahweh Shai's worldly or earthly mother, that being Mary. But it's also talking about just the nation of Israel as a whole, because Yahweh Shai came out of the loins of David. He is literally a seed of the nation of Israel, and it's always prophesied to happen that way. So he's a child. He is a child of the nation of Israel as well. So you can see the real difference.
And just real quick, when it comes down to it, that's why the name is important, because when you read Revelation 12 and 2, she being with child cried, traveling in birth, and pain to be delivered. What does Yahweh Shai mean? He delivers. So you understand the meaning of the words, and you understand the etymology of the word, then you kind of get the understanding of the prophecy. But
absolutely.
Go ahead, bro.
That's a good point, bro.
That's a beautiful point. And let's go ahead and go into what Revelation 12 and 2 was talking about, because like I said, that travailing with that child crying, travailing in birth, that's talking about the condition that was surrounding the nation and Yahweh Shai and really all the children when that time period came, because that was a time period where Herod was basically ruling and had it out for Yahweh Shai. Let's go into that in the book of Matthew. This is the book of Matthew, the 2nd chapter, and it's in the 1st verse. Now, when Yahweh Shai was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, Salak, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. So the reason why Herod was troubled, because the birth of Yahweh Shai represented the fall of the Roman Empire and the fall of Herod and the Roman Empire. Because now it didn't happen immediately. Don't get it twisted. It didn't happen immediately, and they did have they did have a siege on Israel. 70 AD, the Jewish Roman War. We're gonna get into that later on in the chapter. But so it didn't happen immediately, but it did happen. But what Yahweh Shai being born represented was redemption and a coming together, and the nation of Israel rising up. That's what the birth of Yahweh Shai represented. It was prophesied, to be that. We always go through the prophecies of Yahweh Shai being, for the nation and all that. We go through that all the time. There's a prophecy in Micah the 5th chapter that goes into this point right here, but this point right here specifically going into Herod, when it says he was troubled, and him being troubled, that's what led him to do all the egregious acts that he did, that we're gonna read later on in Matthew the 2nd chapter. Him being troubled, that pretty much represented him understanding, him knowing through, because that's, you got to remember, the words of the prophets, were on the scene. Like the words of the prophets and things like that had always carried throughout the nation. So people had understanding that the Most High was going to send a Messiah to come to redeem the nation. It was understood that was going to happen. So Herod him being trouble represented like he was like, okay, so this is the fulfillment of all of that. So the time has come when the Most High sent that Messiah to deliver the nation, to get the nation that back to proper etiquette and order and understanding, to be a blood for the nation, things of that nature that represent basically everything that represent the fall of him and the Roman Empire, which happened later, but nonetheless it did happen. And I'm going to go into later on in Matthew the second chapter. This is Matthew the second chapter and the 13th verse to get deeper into that travailing with birth and child cry, going to that time period and the travail that was going on when Mary gave birth to Yahushua. This is Matthew the second chapter, because they had to flee during that time, man. They couldn't even when Yahushua was born, they had to go immediately when he was born, man. Couldn't even stay in Bethlehem. This is Matthew the second chapter and the 13th verse. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, Yahushua's father, saying, arise, brother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. So Herod was trying to kill Yahushua. He had it out for Yahushua because Herod understood through the prophets and through the word of the prophets, just understanding that through the nation that and hearing those words and how it traveled from generation to generation. These rulers, they understood, with Herod specifically, understood that there was going to come a time when the Most High was going to birth his anointed, and that was going to represent the fall of them. So Herod was like, you know what, I'm going to just take him out myself, and he was trying to do so. So that's why they had to flee into Egypt. Verse 14, when he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod. So basically, they had to go into Egypt all the way and stay in Egypt all the way until the Most High took out Herod. So basically, Herod wasn't going to stop until he had Yahushua dead, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. And I want to get the fulfillment of that prophecy right here in the book of Hosea. So for y'all who say that Yahushua is not in the Old Testament, this is a cut on that. So I'm just trying to get the book of Hosea real quick. All right, here we go. Hosea 11:1. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. So that's the fulfillment of that prophecy right there, man. When Israel was a child, and that Israel, representing Yahushua, man. And I loved him and called him my son out of Egypt, also Yahushua. That's what that's talking about in Matthew the second chapter, right here. Matthew the second chapter right here. Let me go back to it. This prophecy right here in the Old Testament is fulfilled in Matthew the second chapter, when Yahushua had to flee into Egypt, and then he could only come back out of Egypt after Herod was killed and Herod was dead. That's why it says, or taken out by the Most High. That's why it says, and there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. So out of Egypt, meaning after Yahushua fled into Egypt, then he was called back out, but he was called back into the land after he left Egypt, came back from Egypt after the death of Herod, like it says in Hosea 11:1. Just going over that again. When Israel was a child, so this is when Israel was a child. Yahushua is a child here. He was just being born, and he was there for a period of time until Herod was dead. He was still a child. When Israel was a child, then I loved him and called my son out of Egypt. So, he called him back out of Egypt to come back to the land, to grow and do the will, and ultimately perform his ministry and whatnot. So that's a fulfillment of that prophecy right there. But going back to Revelation the 12th chapter, going back to Revelation 12, when it says, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered, that's what that is going into right there. The time period that was surrounding Yahushua's birth, because Yahushua is that child. Now, of course, on a lower level, of course, women go through pain will give when giving birth to children. And of course, Mary, gave birth to Yahushua, but on a higher level, that child is talking about that she is talking about Yahushua coming out of the nation of Israel, and there being a lot of travail around the nation of Israel or in the land at that time, because Herod had it out, basically had it out for Yahushua, and eventually went on to kill every young boy that was 2 years old or younger. So yeah. So that's what that's going into.
Con, bro. Hey, great points when it comes down to that, man. So the next part, and this is an important part for y'all brothers to understand, we live in a beast system. A lot of people get the quote unquote red dragon or Satan. They think that this is in regards to Satan and the evil angels fighting and rebelling against the Most High and his son and things like that. But we're going to give you the real understanding, because only those who really understand this truth is going to get this. You want to read this, bro?
This is Revelation, the 12th chapter, the 3rd verse. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And this is the thing right here. Before I read this chapter, before I read this precept, this is the thing about Revelation 12. It jumps back in. It jumped, like we were saying earlier. It jumps between time periods. And you got some prophecies that are double fold, talking about what a time period then and a time period to come in the future. So now, we were in the time period, when Yahushua was born and Herod was trying to take him out, and basically going into the travail that was going around that time period, because Yahushua being born symbolized Herod and the Roman Empire's fall. So now we're jumping into the future, because remember, this is a vision that John the Revelator is seeing. So now we're jumping into a future prophecy that would sprout, shortly after that time period around the Roman Empire, in terms of the Roman, the Roman Empire and all the fellow Edomite rulerships that will sprout up later after that. So this is Revelation 12:3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads.
And you want to get verse 4 too?
Y'all get verse 4. Verse 4. And his tail drew the third part. We'll stop at verse 3, because verse 4 is going to something else.
All right, cool. So for those of y'all brothers who understand, when it comes to the B system, it's actually talking about the quote unquote UN, but it's really talking about the Edomite rulership. And I'm gonna get a little preview for y'all. Give me 1 second. So whenever y'all think about it, that's in regards to the NATO. So salute to GMS. I know Kenton, he feels the type of way, but I mean, they got the coldest breakdowns on this shit.
No, I was gonna say shout out to the GMS affiliate, Hebrew Israelite Yahweh. That's the only person I really watch. He broke it down really good. So,
I like Remnant Save. Them niggas pretty cool.
Yeah, I fuck with Remnant Save in the Dallas camp.
I fuck with Manatazak too.
I fuck with Manatazak. Everybody ain't gonna fuck with Manatazak, and I understand why, but I fuck with Manatazak. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sometimes he does get jealous, but I just stay away from it. It's what it is.
I like GMS as a whole.
Yeah.
To be honest,
yeah.
they
got cold breakdowns. Yeah, they are, bro.
Yeah. So basically, we found this online. So that way y'all brothers understand the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Don't let these Christians sit here and think there's 7 archangels. Well, there are 7 archangels, or holy angels, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. So when you understand what the quote unquote beast system is, you got to understand the first thing, the whore of Babylon. I mean, we can get that in 17 or 18 and 2. Sloppy. So let's go there real quick, and then we'll break this down. So when you think about the whore of Babylon, we'll just go to 18 and 2. We'll read it. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. I mean, why do we censor our talking? We talking about FG bombs and transformers and all this shit, because it all stems from Babylon. I was on the phone with Malak yesterday. He talking about Atlanta. It got a bed for niggas wearing dresses and see-through shirts, dog. That shit is an abomination. So that is representative of America, because she's leading the quote-unquote beast system.
But you said they got a bed? What you mean?
Basically, like a bed meaning like a hotbed,
like it's like an area, a hot area of
you know what area I'm talking
about. Okay. I was like,
hotbed, yeah,
like a hotbed, yeah. You know what area I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm about to say, they got a bed?
So yeah, but when you break down when you do the breakdown of it, you can see right here throughout history, those are the empires. So you got, of course, the Greek. You know, you got the British Empire, which America sprouted from. You got the German Empire, Spanish Empire, the French Empire, the Roman Empire, and then you got Germania Major, which I think I don't know off the top of my head, Germania Minor and Germania Major. But then also when you look to the right, you have the 10. Now obviously it's kind of hard to see because this diagram is kind of messed up. But the 10 heads is in regards to the 10 horns are in regards to the modern day countries like the America, England, Spain. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah,
So
the 10 heads is.
Can I get a quick precept?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with married clay. And I wanted to bring that out because this vision, the dream that Daniel broke down for the king of Babylon, the feet of potter's clay, this is also what Revelations is talking about as well.
And I want to piggyback off of that point just to give a disclaimer, because even a lot of GMS dudes, they still fall for this trap. Once again, that empire was not established, especially from a rulership standpoint, until the 1800s. All this 400 years and now 500 years, all of a sudden, now that we're in 2021, of slavery, that's cap. Which
you talking about the 1600 shit?
Yeah, it's like, and you should know that that's cap, because if you understand that King James is so-called black man who united pretty much all of Europe during that time, that doesn't make any sense. How could he have been in rulership to create a Bible, to create a book of this magnitude, if motherfuckers were enslaved back in the 1600s? But anyway, just a little question.
Well, to be fair, I haven't heard anybody from GMS talk about this. That's mainly people I've heard, like those black identity extremists, the pro-black Israelites. Yeah. They don't want to talk about that 1600 shit.
Yeah, they'll say it, but they'll never like go into detail about when the empire was actually established. They'll never say, oh, it was established late 1700s, early 1800s, which the financial, like the banks and things of that nature, that was more so late 1700s, but they didn't get the throne until the 1800s, because obviously King George III was so-called black man. From what I read, he was a descendant of King James, but that's a whole other topic. I have to confirm that again. But
I want to get a precept. I want to get a precept as well. Yeah, I want to get a precept as well to go into that point. This is the book of Revelation, the 20th chapter, in the first verse. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having a key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on that dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. So the start of what Kitten is talking about in regards to the Roman Empire revival, during what they call the Renaissance period, that was the start of the establishment of what this picture that we're looking at right here. That's what Kitten is basically going into right there. That's when people talk about that 400-year prophecy with 1600 to 2020. That prophecy is already fulfilled, and you can read about that in the book of Acts. I believe it's in the book of Acts that talk about the period with Abraham in Egypt. This time period has nothing to do with that 400-year prophecy in the scriptures at all.
And they'll say Second Ezra too, when it talks about 400-year period. And it's like, no, nigga, that's between the time of the Persian captivity and the birth of John the Baptist. But whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So this being created right here, this of the Esau setting up his systems, and that was around the time, around the late 1700s, early 1800s, when Esau came back into rulership, when the Roman Empire was revived, aka the Renaissance period after the dark ages of the Byzantine Empire. I mean, you can literally look up online how long did the Byzantine Empire last, and it will literally fit this prophecy right here. It tells you about 1,000 years. I mean, you can look. This is Esau's media. This is Esau's internet telling you that. You know what I'm saying? They're literally telling you that the prophecy, and they're literally confirming to you the prophecy is in Revelation 20 right there. So it tells you online that he was bound 1,000. If you know anything about the Dark Ages and the Byzantine Empire, when we were in rulership in ancient Europe and they were in the Caucasus Mountains, that's what goes into that bottomless pit right there. And then once when the Heavenly Father loosed them out of that to revive their rulership to come back into power, that's when they set up the seven heads with 10 horns. You know, the main Edomite ruling the seven Edomite kingdoms, the seven Edomite ruling kingdoms, but it all sprouted off of the Roman Empire, the ancient Roman Empire, to create everything else, and also the Roman Catholic Church as well, which is the false prophet, and what stems out of there. It started from the Roman Empire. It all sprung from the Roman Empire, and dating back to the vision that Nebuchadnezzar saw, like Hitman brought out in Daniel the 2nd chapter as well. So that's the fulfillment of that. It sprouted up, after they were loosed for that little season, and we're in that season right now where they're being loosed. This is when that time period started, and now we're still living in it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that point, like the Renaissance period, the Renaissance was all about a thought. Like that was the whole point. Like the Renaissance was meant to change people's thought process, but nothing became really a thing until about 300 years down the line, when there was so much infighting amongst the so-called black nobility, really Israelite nobility, whatever, how you want to look at it. It led to them using so-called Caucasians as part of like the middle class per se to rise against the elite of the Israelites or things of that nature, which led to a lot of the quote unquote transatlantic slave trade time period. That doesn't mean that you was a slave. Not to say you probably wasn't, but that's what it led to. But it took a long time of infighting and changing of people's thoughts to lead to that. Like Esau don't know what the fuck he's doing. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. So you don't know what the hell he's doing. He couldn't have. There's no way he could have taken over Europe that quickly. Like that's bullshit. It took him a long time, and a lot of us bringing him up to teach him certain things in order for him to have the knowledge to run a whole system of this magnitude.
And not only that, but a lot of the Most High's plagues being placed upon our people, like the Black Plague, smallpox, all those things. Because not only was it Europe, but it was also the Americas. It took Esau a long time before he was fully able to establish his kingdom, specifically Mystery Babylon. So
exactly,
that's the key thing. In 1776 is when I think that's when the Illuminati was founded, right?
I believe you could say it was pretty much.
It was a month. It was a month before the 4th of July. I know that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know exactly what it was. I don't know if it's the Illuminati or it's another organization. Either the free. I forgot. I'm thinking Freemasons.
I remember. I know with the Freemasons, they started off as the Knight Templars.
Yeah,
they got banned,
the name up,
and they had to go to Scotland.
That's interesting.
They had to go underground, and they came out with Scottish Rite.
When you think about 1776, it goes back into the number 77 or 76. I forgot. I think it was Mac who sent it to me, so I'm gonna check that out before we finish. But
the Capricorn, the great goat.
But y'all want to continue on to the next part, or you got
let's go ahead and let's go to chapter 4. Verse 4. This is the book of Revelation, the 12th chapter and the 4th verse. And his tail drew, and that's the thing. Now we going back. So that's the thing about Revelation. We're going forward to the vision of the 7 heads and 10 horns, which happened, after the time period of the ancient Roman Empire. Now we're going back to the ancient Roman Empire of Revelation 12 and 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So the dragon right here in this precept is talking about the Romans, but specifically Herod. And we're going to get that in Matthew, the 2nd chapter. But I want to focus on this first part of Revelation 12, when it says, and his tail drew the third part out of the stars of heaven, and they cast them cast them to the earth. That third part of the stars of heaven, keep in mind, going back to verse 1, it says that upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So we understand the stars, the 12 stars are talking about the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So there's the third part of the stars of heaven, that's talking about the southern kingdom that was still in the land at that period of time. We got to remember, going back into history, the northern kingdom was cast away. The northern kingdom was done. And I want to go into a couple precepts to go into that.
And real quick, could that be could you say that represents the 2/3 as well?
Oh shit, man!
Get the hopefully elect. That's what I was thinking.
Oh man, yes, yeah.
Hey, damn, hey, that's a good point.
That's a good catch right there. That's a good catch right there. That's the double fold nature right there. That's a beautiful point. You know, yeah, because you look at it from a time period of now as well, and that's the thing about Revelation 12 is you got past parts, you got future parts within the same verse as well. That third part is starting to heaven. Yeah, that as well. Definitely.
Hey, that's a great point,
bro. That's a great point. The water for that.
You're not gonna get that from your Christian pastor. You're not gonna get that from
Nah, you ain't, bro. Nah, you ain't.
Niggas who love to watch them YouTube videos, simple-minded ass bullshit. I mean, hey.
You just gotta call on Jesus.
Hey, Jesus ain't gonna do shit for
Jesus is gonna kill the dragon.
Jesus is the damn dragon, nigga.
All that with a pork sandwich in his left hand.
Facts, bro. Facts, nigga. But I wanted to go into that precept in the book of Hosea to show to show the third part talking about the three tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the three stars out of those 12 stars. So this is the book of Hosea, the 7th chapter, to go into how that's not talking about, that's not in this context. The northern kingdom, the third part is not the other 9/10 tribes, because Dan was mixed in. So this is the book of Hosea, the 7th chapter and the 11th verse. Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria. So I wanted to get that right there, because the word Egypt, that's not actually talking about the land of Egypt. That's not talking about, because in this period of time right here, this is when, Egypt just represents captivity, basically. And this is when Ephraim was hearkening unto the gods and the ways and the philosophies of the Assyrians, committing spiritual fornication and adultery against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's what the northern kingdom was doing at this particular time. So they were already cast out from the nation. They were no longer in the land. The Most High wasn't dealing with the northern kingdom anymore. Now they are going to they got revived when the Apostle Paul, aka the minister of the Gentiles, came to the certain lands in which they were scattered and revived them. But until then, they were cast away by the Most High. So this period of time right here, this is specifically talking about, in this context, and talking about a past tense context, it's talking about the southern kingdom, aka Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, that was still in the land at that particular time, who had not been cast away via Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. And when it says right here, and they cast them to the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. So that woman, once again, it's twofold. Yes, that woman is in a sense talking about Mary, because Mary's child was Yahweh Shai. But on a higher level, that woman is talking about Herod just wanting to devour the nation of Israel as a whole, all the men, children of the nation of Israel from 2 years and younger. Herod wanted to kill, but his main target was Yahweh Shai. So you can see the double-fold nature in it. And I want to go to Matthew, the 2nd chapter and the 16th verse to get a precept on that. This is Matthew 2, and I'm gonna start at 15. And there was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt have I called my son. That Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to thine which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So this is that time period right here, where it says, and his tail drew the third part of stars of heaven, they cast him into the earth, and the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered. So the third part of the stars of heaven, the southern kingdom of the tribes, being cast them into the earth. That's when it says being cast them into the earth. That's basically talking about them going down into Africa. Basically, doing what like Yahushua had went into Egypt. This is talking about the southern kingdom as well, going into Africa, fleeing from the wrath of Herod as much as they possibly could, because Herod did perform his wrath and take out, children of the nation of Israel as well, of the southern kingdom, from 2 years on down. The male children specifically, female children would not. Herod was target was not female children; it was male children, male children from 2 years and younger that Herod was intent on killing during that time period.
Yeah, real quick, when it says the red dragon / Satan, that's when y'all, because a lot of people think again Satan is just Hades or Pan or him from the Powerpuff Girls. No, Satan just means adversary. Any adversary to the righteous, to the righteous of the Most High, to the right hand path, can be deemed as Satan. That's why they have it in the context, the red dragon / Satan. And also, so you got to understand, these have been translated from a Roman Catholic perspective as well. But Satan just means adversary.
Con, that's a great point. All Satan means adversary.
And also in the scriptures, Esau is referred to as the wicked. So, anybody that's wicked is our adversary. So that's who Satan's working through.
Con, even if it's your own nation. There's still.
And my bad, real quick, before you go on, I just want to say the reason why it was a lot of, especially like Jesus and things of that nature, the reason why it's spoken from a quote unquote Roman Catholic perspective is because that was King James's mission while he was alive. He was trying to use the scriptures to reform the Catholic Church. Like, that was his number one ambition. So that's why a lot of terms in the scriptures are not really written from a Hebrew sense. They're stated from a Roman Catholic type perspective. So that's why you see things like Jesus and Satan and things of that nature, or devil. You get the point.
The water for that, the water. And I want to get another point on Revelation 12:4 as well, because this is also talking about a future time period from when, like I said, it's double fold. This is also talking about a future time period, not the time period, as in addition to the time period where Herod was coming after Yahushua, but this is also talking about the Roman takeover over the nation of Israel, known as the abomination of desolation. And I want to go to Matthew the 24th chapter to get into that. So as you can see, Revelation 12, it is kind of a kind of like a tricky chapter to get, what I'm saying, at times, because it talks about multiple time periods within a certain chapter. Because at one point, it's talking about Yahushua, in Revelation 12:4, it's talking about Herod coming after Yahushua, basically going to devour that child as soon as it's born. That's talking about Yahushua, but it's also talking about earlier on where it talks about the woman, where it goes into the dragon stood before the woman. That's talking about the Roman Empire as well, trying to take over the nation of Israel, and successfully doing it during the Jewish and Roman War of 70 AD. So this is Matthew the 24th chapter, and I'm gonna start at the 50th, and also the great point that Hitman brought out with the 1/3. So it covers multiple different time periods. So this is Matthew 24:15. Matthew 24:15. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Why is that? Because they were coming into Judea to take over the nation of Israel during the time of 70 AD. So when it's talking about that dragon stood before the woman, that's what that's going into, the woman being the nation of Israel as well. But continuing on, let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him watch, and neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe to them that are with child, and then that give suck in those days. But pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to its time, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Now we go into this, we're talking about this time period as well, because it is talking about the time period where we're heading and we're rapidly heading to as well. But from a historical context, it's also talking about the time of 70, the Jewish and Roman War of 70 AD. That what is known as the Jewish and Roman War of 70 AD in modern time, but we know this the southern kingdom of the nation of Israel and the Roman War that was so biblically supposed to be known as of 70 AD. That's what this time period is going into, where it talks about the dragon stood before the woman. The dragon, like I said earlier, represent the Roman Empire, but later on in the precept where it says for to devour the child as soon as it's born, that dragon right there in that context is talking about the Herod, the king of the Roman Empire. So you got to kind of just understand the different context of that abomination of desolation, that we're going into another abomination of desolation. So this abomination of desolation already happened in Matthew 24 chapter, but we are going into that again. So when you read some of these precepts where it talks about woe to them with child and whatnot, that doesn't necessarily relate. That is not necessarily talking about this time period, but we can relate it to this time period, because think about it. If a lot of jakes that shacking up with a lot of kids and women and all that can serve as a burden too. Now ultimately, if you have the elect, the Most High is going to take care of you anyway. But if you're not of the elect, that is going to serve as a burden to you. A lot of, especially like Northern Kingdom jakes, they got 50 people a household, and whatnot, all that, man. That's gonna be a big, they gonna feel it, boy. They gonna feel it, boy. It just is what it is. Like, that's why Yahweh said, woe to them that with child. Like I said, this is specifically from a historical context talking about the southern kingdom of Israel versus the Roman Empire. But we can relate it today as well through the spirit of the signs that we're seeing, and just inferring and things like that. All right, so I guess we'll go on anyone else.
My fault. I was on mute on accident. So yeah, I think this is a good transition to go to verse 5. And Ken, you can bring out your definition. Let's read them together. So Malak, I got a picture for verse 5. I don't have a picture for 6. So let's read 5. Then I got the picture. We can go into it. And then of course, because most brothers understand 12 and 5. But verse 6 is actually, a lot of brothers think it's like trees and bushes and shit. But it camps a lot more. But go ahead, bro.
So this is Revelation 12 and 5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And the child was caught up unto the Most High and to his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of the Most High. And they that should feed her, and they should feed her there 1,260 days. So before we go into verse 6, and y'all go into your points on verse 6, I want to go into verse 5 real quick and just bring out some extra precepts, some extra edification on verse 5. So going into verse 5, where it talks about, and brought forth a man-child, that she, once again, that she on a worldly context, on a fleshy level, is talking about Mary giving birth to Yahushua, but on a higher level, is talking about the nation of Israel, Yahushua coming out and being birthed out of the seed of David via his earthly father Joseph. So I want to go into a precept. This is the book of Isaiah. This because it was prophesied that a virgin would conceive, and that virgin being a young woman who was Mary. This is the book of Isaiah, the 7th chapter and the 14th verse. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. So that's Yahweh Shah right there. And I'm gonna get that word, because I always forget the definition of this, but I'm gonna get that word Emmanuel.
And just so y'all brothers can understand, when it talks about women in 12 and 1, that you see the 12 different stones for each tribe. That's what that represents. Now you got to disregard the sun. There's a lot of these depictions. I mean, what does the sun represent? Malak, I forgot what you said.
Are you talking about in verse 1?
Nah, just in the background. You know how it always has a picture of a son of Yahushua?
Yes.
Was it wisdom?
Yeah, you're talking about in verse 1 of Revelation, right?
No, I'm just saying in the pictures, bro. In the pictures, how it has a sun behind it.
Well, let me
like
say.
The mother goddess.
Oh, you mean that? Oh, I thought you were talking about.
No, because this isn't from quote unquote mother. This is actually from. Hold up real quick. This is from actual Israelites who make the pictures. I always notice they have a sun behind Yahweh Shah every picture. But go
Well,
ahead.
let me say in general. Yeah, let me say in general. The sun, the sun represents like illumination, like or like like who
I
compared it?
mean, bringing
Somebody,
Oh, like
bringing light to the
Lucifer,
world.
right?
yeah, that like in Matthew 5:13, let your light shine before men. It's really the sun and the moon are a perfect analogy of man and woman, because men are supposed to be consistent and clear mind and bring clarity to things like the sun does. Because when the sun shines every day, as long as it's as long as it's daytime, you're able to see what? You're able to see everything clearly, as long as your vision's not fucked up like mine. But anyway, and when it's night, the moon, depending on which phase that it's in, it shines no light. Now there are times when it's full moon that the moon can shine a pretty decent bright light depending on where it's at, but the moon goes through phases, so there is no real consistency with the moon. Even its patterns in the sky changes from day to day. Like, it has no real level of consistency whatsoever, but it serves a purpose, because just like the sun shines, if the sun's out too long, it'll burn up everything. Or sun rays, if it's showing too long in one spot, it'll eventually just dry up and burn up everything. So you do need the moon as a counterbalance to basically give certain things, or certain things on the earth, a break from that sunlight or sun rays. But yeah, that's basically what the sun just represents. It represents illumination. Now, of course, you can take that easily the wrong way, but yeah, that's basically what the sun represents.
Khan, and you think about it, Yahweh Shah is the light to the world as well. To add on to your point, so the sun bringing light to the world on a just a worldly level, the sun being responsible for lighting up the world. Yahweh Shah through the Spirit is responsible for lighting up the world with righteousness. I just want to get a
And
precept. This is the book of John, the 8th chapter and the 12th verse. Then spake Yahweh Shai unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So Yahweh Shai being representation of the sun,
he's Lucifer on the right hand side, pretty much, right?
exactly.
Is that the only point y'all want to make with that one? Because if that's the case, then I'll go to verse 6.
Yeah, I want to get another point on verse 5 real quick, because it's talking about and she brought forth a man child who was to rule our nation with the rod of iron. So like I was reading in Isaiah 7:14, what was prophesied that virgin shall conceive. So that woman being Mary on a fleshy level, but also being on a higher level, being the nation of Israel, being a woman being the representation of the nation of Israel, which Yahweh Shai came through the loins of. What goes into that word Emmanuel in Isaiah 7:14, that name means God with us. And who was your and Yahweh Shai, as you can read in John the 14th chapter, when he was speaking to Philip, and Philip was saying, you speak so much of your father. Basically, I want what does your father look like? And Yahweh Shai said, if you have seen the Father, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. So that name Emmanuel, meaning God with us, Yahweh Shai came in the image of the Most High, and was basically the splitting image, in righteousness, no Trinity shit, but in the splitting image, of the Most High, the same Spirit, the same everything, just a different entity than the Most High, just on the right, just to the right, just on the throne to the right of the Most High, what Yahweh Shai is. But I also want to get another precept as well. This is the book of Daniel. Daniel the 7th chapter. Here we go. This is Daniel 7:13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, Yahweh, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. So this is talking about Yahweh Shai right here, because it says in verse 13, the Son of Man came to the Ancient of Days. So that Son of Man is Yahweh Shai. The Ancient of Days is Yahweh, and it was giving him. So the Ancient of Days gave to the Son of Man the kingdom, the people, the nation shall serve him, and his dominion is everlasting dominion. His kingdom is everlasting kingdom. So the kingdom belongs is under the authority of the Most High, but the kingdom is Yahweh Shai's. Everything the Most High gave Yahweh Shai everything on the right hand path. That's where that goes from Revelation 12 and 5 in terms of that child to rule all the nations. That man child is talking about Yahweh Shai ruling all the nations on the right hand path. He comes back on this, he comes the second time on this earth. He comes back to make his second coming on the earth, coming to basically fuck everything up, smite all this wickedness down, smite all these heathens down, destroy Babylon off the face of the earth, raise up his elect and his righteous, and then reign in the kingdom, with him on top of the kingdom and the 144,000 and the rest of the elect, underneath him. But it's still above all these other nations as well. I just want to get one more precept that goes into that point as well. This is Psalm, classic one. This is Psalm, the second chapter. This is Psalm 2 and
13, I'm assuming.
No, it's Psalm 2. Psalm 2 stops at 12. But the point is, I just want to get to the point of it. This is the book of Psalm, the second chapter and the 7th verse. I will declare the decree the Lord has said unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So basically, the Most High is just saying to Yahweh Shai, like, hey, whatever you want, I'm gonna give it all to you. This is your kingdom. Whatever you want, you're gonna rule over with a rod of iron. All the heathen are gonna be in your possession. Everything is gonna belong to you in the kingdom. So that man child to come forth and rule all the nations, that shows you through the other precepts that's talking about Yahweh Shai. And you can also get that in Revelation, the second chapter, where it goes into that point as well. I'm just gonna get it real quick. Revelation 2 and 26. This is talking about the elect that's going to be joint heirs with Yahweh Shai. This is Revelation 2 and 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and as the vessels of powder shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. So even as I received of my Father. So this is going to Yahweh Shai, going back to Psalm the second chapter, where the Father said to Yahweh Shai, ask of me, and I will give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and everything. Basically, I will give you everything under the sun for your inheritance, and the rod of iron, your rulership, and all that. Yahweh Shai saying to us in Revelation 2 and 28. Revelation 2 27. If we keep the faith, keep the works, and overcome this beast, this devil, in the third abomination of desolation that's coming to us, like we read in Matthew 24, with the first abomination of desolation. You can read that in the book of First Maccabees. The second abomination of desolation, that's talking about what we read earlier on in Matthew 24 and Revelation, the 12th chapter and the fourth verse. The fourth, and also going up to 6th verse as well. But starting that southern Jew, that southern kingdom of the nation of Israel, basically the Jews and the Roman and the Roman war, where the Romans came and took over us, and took over our land and basically cast us out of Jerusalem, took over Jerusalem basically during that time period. But then it's coming again where the high-ranking elite of Edom, the revived Roman Empire, is going to try to come over the spiritual nation of Israel, being just the nation of Israel today. We don't have a land that we're dwelling in today, but just the nation, Jerusalem representing the nation of Israel today. The people of the nation is going to overcome most of our people as well during this time period, except for the elect, which is going to be delivered. So that's what that's going into. But the scriptures say that, if we maintain and we don't fall victim to that, we're gonna, receive that rod of iron, just like Yahweh Shai did. And he says, ask, and I will give him So like he said, as I received of my father, so as Yahushua got of the Father, we're gonna get of Yahushua, Lord will. So yeah,
Yeah.
we can go into 6 now.
All right, cool. I'm gonna read it real quick. So this is Revelation 12 and 6. And this is gonna be an important part for y'all brothers to pay attention. And a woman fled into the wilderness where she had the place prepared of the Most High, that they should feed her there 1,203 score days. Now, Ken, you got that definition for me? Ken.
Yeah, shit, delaying and shit. But yet, sure do. Because this is a very important thing that we say it a lot, but a lot of brothers, they might not necessarily understand the deep context of that word, because like I said, a lot of English words have multiple meanings to it. So I want to get it in the Greek, your Ramos, solitary, lonely, desolate, uninhabited. Now that's the key right there. That's the key word right there. Uninhabited. I want to go down to the second one. Deserted places, lonely regions, an uncultivated region. I'm reading it right. Yeah, uncultivated region fit for pasturage. Let's see. Yes, that's pretty much it. But
And I wanted to, because you hit on something, because again, when we read 12 and 5, it's talking in reference to Yahweh Shai, but 12 and 6 is again double fold, because when it says the woman fled into the wilderness, it's talking about, of course, us going when Yahweh Shai went to Egypt, which we read in Matthew, and I think you read it in Luke as well. But also, again, it flips back into not only Roman 70 AD when we had to flee into the mountains from Judea, but also right now when us as a nation spiritually, we're gonna flee to wherever. That's why when brothers say, "Oh, where are you going? Where are you going?" Like, look, bro, there's uninhabited areas in America all over. Over 80% of America is uninhabited land. So wherever you're at in America, when the dragon comes and he tries to attack and cast us into prison and things, for those brothers who make it out, you are going to flee into the wilderness. And the main thing that you got to understand, where it says where she has a place prepared of the Most High, that they should feed her 1,203 score days. When you think about the context of this prophecy, it's not just talking about future, but also past. Now, Yahushua wasn't in Bethlehem for 1,203 score days. He was just there for a certain time period until it was safe for him to go back to Jerusalem to fulfill prophecy. Well, he didn't dwell back in Jerusalem. Where did he go after he left to Egypt? He went to Bethlehem, right? Or
Yahushua was born in Bethlehem, but when he came back from Egypt, he came back into the land.
So that's what I meant to say. So basically, when we leave and we quote unquote go into the wilderness of Egypt, because we're technically in spiritual Egypt, we go into the wilderness of Egypt. We're going to be there for a certain amount of time until the chariots bring us up. A lot of brothers get into this period of 7 years, 3.5 year tribulation period. There's no way you can measure out the time, bro. There's no way. So I'm not saying that that's not true, because at the end of the day, we don't know. But the thing is, when it talks about 1,203 score days, that's just in reference to the time period that the Most High uses, telling us how we're going to be in the wilderness until the chariots arrive.
And just to pick, my bad, just to piggyback just to piggyback off of your point, Brandon. You gotta understand something. In our time, there's a lot of urbanization going, things of that nature. So your wilderness might not necessarily be like trees and shit. It could be like an abandoned building or something. Think about what happened last year due to the scamdemic and everything being shut down. There were a lot of abandoned businesses, meaning there was a lot of abandoned buildings. Maybe they were completed. Maybe they were projects in the making, things of that nature. So you may never know. You might have to flee to one of those abandoned buildings to hide from Esau for a certain time period. You may never know. Your group might be in a place that or part of a town or part of a city that was inhabited at one point, but those people there, maybe they got killed off or something of that nature. So you became the new inhabitants of that place.
That's a great point, bro, because think about Agenda 2030, the Georgia Guidestone. They about to kill off whole towns. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
yes, they are.
Especially these towns that got a lot of V cars, dog. A lot of these people gonna
Mm-hmm.
be dead. And it's just like the book of Eli. He went to towns where people were desolate and dead and killed off. But that's a great reason. That's why when we did that live 3-4 months ago in regards to the book of Eli, I was mentioning like the wilderness is just a desolate land that you're in.
Exactly. There were no trees around Eli. It was nothing but wide open space.
Valley.
But there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing and no people there, pretty much.
And the crazy
yeah,
thing
go ahead,
too
man.
is as he was walking, even though he was walking through desolate land, he still had life in him because he had the knowledge of the scriptures.
Mm-hmm. Facts, bro.
Con.
You want to bring up something, or I'm gonna go to the next part?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring out a quick precept, just to get into that wilderness aspect again, because like you were saying in Revelation, the 12th chapter, and in the 6th verse, that's also double fold as well. You know, we're going into, you know, the nation of Israel during the abomination of desolation, fleeing from Judea into the mountains, into the coast of Africa and things of that nature. You know, when that takeover from the Roman Empire came in 70 AD, but it's also talking about as well when another Roman when you know a repeat of the abomination of desolation is coming as well to us, the nation of Israel, to the Jerusalem today, or Yerushalayim in the Hebrew, the Yerushalayim today. You know, when that time period comes, you know, we're going to have to flee into the wilderness as well, and that's why the scriptures state specifically that we're gonna have to be pilgrims amongst the earth. I'm gonna just get that precept, then go into another one. This is the book of Second Ezra, the 16th chapter in the 40th verse. Oh, my people, hear my word, make you ready to battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. So we're gonna have to be movers, man. Some of us are gonna have to flee into the woods and the wilderness, or like Ken says, your wilderness may be, you know, just a place over there nearby, you know what I'm saying, or whatever it may be. You know, just we don't know exactly how it's gonna look from the Heavenly Father.
And that's gonna happen pretty soon, because certain areas that mandate the V card, you're not gonna be able to be there, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's where verses 41 down to 46 say where you shouldn't have a lot of merchandise and things like that, because you have to move from city to city, city to city. You know, at the end of the day, niggas might be in you know, San Antonio. Then we go to New Mexico. Then next you know we go to Colorado. You never really know at the end of the day. So that's why you can't have too much weight on you, and you can't have too many burdens on you at the same time.
Exactly, bro. You might have to. You might, you know what I'm saying? If you got too much shit on you, shit, as somebody who's a wanderer at this point, shit, I know exactly what you mean, bro. Shit, I be getting worn out here trying to carry. Sometimes I have to carry shit and things of that nature. So you don't want to have too much burdens, or whether that's like material things or other people. You don't want to have too much shit going with you, because anything can stop you or just drag you down. So that way you move too slow and you don't escape fast enough, or you don't get to where you need to fast enough to sojourn there. So
and I want to get the scripture in Ezekiel just to harp on the points that we've been making to build on it. This is Ezekiel 20 and 34.
That's the spirit.
This is one of my favorite scriptures.
That's the spirit, man.
It says, this is the Most High speaking. He says, I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you are scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. What does that mean? The Most High is going to take us away from the people, the multitude of nations, the multitude of waters of us living with, you know, all these different nations. Verse 35, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. So if you take this verse literal, how can the Most High take us out from the people and then bring us into the wilderness of the people? Because when you look at it, think about wilderness. It's normally, like Ken said, desolate, but it can also just mean the wilderness of the nation of Israel. You're all gonna link. Like I promise you, brothers, we it might be a point where niggas is in the city and we can't all link up at the same time, and we just leave, and then next thing you know, a week later we link up through the spirit, because the spirit is gonna guide us, dog. And that's another aspect why you brothers gotta have faith. And you can't rely too much on your natural abilities, because at the end of the day, the spirit's gonna guide you, just like with Denzel. Now I know that little white harlot chick from Book of Eli.
Yeah, that was unrealistic.
She's not a Jake, bro. But whenever she ran off and then he ended up shooting the arrow through that dude's dick and he saved her from getting raped, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen like that, but there's going to be moments where y'all are going to get separated in the wilderness, but you're going to tell each other, hey, we're going to keep going east. We're going to keep going east. And next thing you know, the Spirit is going to literally lead you to the same place as your brothers. And how do I know this? Hey, man, it's 144. I just got faith, my nigga. I got
Hey,
faith that the Most High is going to allow us to be in the same place. But you got to believe in it. If you're a carnal-minded dude, it's not going to work. But I just want to read down to 38. This is Ezekiel 20 and 30. I'll read 35 again. I will bring you into the wilderness of people, and there I will plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith the Lord Yahweh, and I will cause you to pass under the rod and will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me, and I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So we're not going to just magically, swim across oceans to get to the land of Israel. No, what this is in reference to is that those of us who are in the wilderness, who falter, who start breaking laws, who have, envious thoughts towards your brother, and, you just, quite honestly, you're not worthy of the Most High in that day. The Most High is going to purge them and kill them off. Or it might be where the chariot comes up and I get raised up, but your bum ass don't. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, he will bring you into the bond of the covenant. So, and then also too, that potentially could be, well, I can't say this, but there might be other nations who might be in the wilderness with us that we never know. You know what I'm saying? So just kind of keeping everything in proper perspective, like with the book of Eli, you had those two Edomite people who was eating humans. Them niggas got off. But, Eli, he kept going because he was the chosen one. You know what I'm saying?
And you're going to have situations in the wilderness where the Most High might send a chariot to deliver us from one place to the next. It may not be the final deliverance. It just may be, all right, some evil is coming. I'm going to take you from here. I'm going to take you to here. Like it could be a situation like that as well. Or just, use his vehicles to give us food and water and things like that. I mean, great miracles are going to be happening in that time period.
Yeah, you might look behind the tree. You got bikes. You might look behind the tree. Exactly. I mean, I've been telling brothers, I think it's going to be fuck around with portals. You're going to have UN soldiers. You're going to see a portal. You're going to go through that bitch. You're going to be in a whole nother country.
Those things can happen, man.
That's just me, though. That's me, though.
Shit, I want to give a personal testimony. Shit, a lot of things just being out here and stuff, you know what I'm saying? When I see that chariot, a lot of things have not necessarily happened to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, certain confrontations have happened per se, but it's been nowhere near as bad as you could imagine. But a lot of times I'll look into the sky and that chariot's there, and I'm like, man, does that mean that that somebody's watching to make sure that
you're okay?
To make sure that I'm all right. And if that's the case, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the path? You know what I'm saying? I just always wondered, like, man, what is that path? What is the path that I'm on? But it's just stuff like that does make you wonder, like, damn, something really's got to be something. There's got to be something great for me at the end of this, because at the end of this, as long as I continue in this faith, because nothing's ever like you never experience those type of crazy confrontations that other people might experience being out here for like a couple of days or some shit. Most people are pleasant to you, and it's like, damn, that chariot's in the sky.
And that chariot also, when you see it, bro, that shit puts fear in your heart, bro. It really does.
Exactly.
Most eyes watching. His eyes are always watching. The scriptures say the eyes of the Lord are upon the sinful kingdom. I mean, most are always looking out, bro. But yeah, y'all brothers got all y'all points on that. We can go ahead and go into Revelation 12, chapter 7, verse now.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is the main part of the scripture. I mean, the main part of the title. What I put, with those aliens battling human fighters in the air. So this is verse 7. It says, "And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not, neither was there found any more in heaven." Now, when you understand Michael, that's talking about the archangel Michael, who is one of the 7 holy angels on the right-hand path of the Most High. You see, you got to when you read the Bible, you understand these things. That's why the Most High places these in books like Revelation, because if you don't read through the entire Bible, you're not gonna, or at least get a good grasp of the Bible, you're not gonna understand that. So
And
when
I,
it's
I want to bring out a preset real quick, just to hit on that point about Michael, because this mentioned earlier on, you know, in the book, you know, in the Old Testament, the book of Daniel, prophesying about this specific time period right here in Revelation 12:7. This is Revelation. I mean, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 1. And at that time shall Michael, or Mayakala in the Hebrew, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same people. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be written and found. It's like everyone that shall be found written in the book. So that time of trouble, basically, that, you know, an aspect to that is talking about that war in heaven. We're gonna see Esau Edom just pull out everything under the gauntlet that he got to fight against Yahweh Shah, Michael, and the rest of the holy angels. Of course, we know 4 of their names, and we don't know the other 3 names, but you know, Yahweh Shah and Michael leading the charge to come back and fight on our behalf against Esau Edom. Of course, Esau Edom's not going to win, but they're going to pull out everything under the gauntlet, under the sun, to fight. So it's going to be a scary time for people out here in the world, because they're going to have no clue about what's going on. They're just going to think that it's some fucking some alien invasion coming, you know, where aliens are attacking us and shit like that. We're going to know this is our Lord Yahweh Shah and the holy angel Michael coming to fight on our behalf against Esau Edom, who's trying to take him out.
Hey, great point. And that's why I told you, brothers, you know, oh well, hey, go get your point, bro. I'm gonna pull up this picture real quick.
I actually want to piggyback off that point because I've always wondered, like Michael, I always wondered about that name, and I just so happened to look it up, and it means he who is like the power,
he who is like God. Yeah, that's what it means.
Yeah. I just said power, said God, but and when you actually break down his name in the Hebrew, one of the parts of his name actually goes back to El, or El, A-L-E. That's in his name. So it just goes to show you that clearly Michael has to be a very important figure of the Most High, as the story of, well, especially from a prophetic perspective, the story of the wars and things of that nature. His role has to be very, very important, because even his name is he who is like the Most High. So stuff like that, breaking down the etymology, is very important, so that way you can get that way these prophecies and these characters that come up, that you get a much better impact of what their names is and what role they're going to play as certain events start to take place, as we believe will take place, hopefully in our lifetime. So
exactly. And I wanted to bring this up in regards to the war in space, because, you know, Esau, he alludes to it. You know, you watch Star Wars, Star Trek, Independence Day. I mean, bro, they come out with a space movie damn near every other year. And this is actually going to happen. Literally, you know, when they say we're in a movie, we're in a real life movie of the Most High, like, it is true, because art oftentimes imitates real life. So now this isn't what it's going to look like. But if you brothers understand what's been going on with Esau, and this is the meaning of the title in regards to the war in heaven, what the UN isn't telling you is when they have all these spaceships, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all these high-ranking Edomites trying to build, SpaceX and all this other shit. They have all these things in space in regards to like setting up a space defense. Who the fuck are they defending against? And salute to Judah, because he was the first one when I was still new to the truth. He was like, they're trying to prepare a fight for the one who they know is coming back. I was like, nigga, who the fuck coming back? Nigga, the Terminator? But then when I actually started reading the Bible and I read Revelation, I was like, oh, so the Son of Man is coming back from the heavens. Because he was in the third heaven, they're gonna fight in the second heaven, and then he's gonna place his heaven on the earth.
And you was right the first time. The Terminator is coming back, man.
Yeah, exactly. Real
and
shit.
Just to piggyback off your point, the movie, the next space movie that's coming out as part of the MCU, The Eternals. Anybody that knows this story about the Eternals is basically kind of set up, basically like the story of Genesis, how the angels created the original men and women. Well, that's kind of how the story of the Eternals goes. Like there was celestial beings, and they created like the divine, like physical beings on the earth, and every so often they come back to check up on what they created. And I believe they like give like judgments and things of that nature. So that's basically what the Eternals are based on. And one of like the main villains that they've been talking about will be in the future is a guy named Prometheus. If y'all know what I'm talking about. No, or is it Colossus? Something like that. I think it's like Colossus or something like that. Where he's like larger than, like he's way larger than the planet itself, and he's coming back to judge the Earth, and then obviously the Avengers have to be the ones to stop
Yeah, with
him.
Thanos.
Massive.
I mean, think about with
Yeah.
Thanos. He's the
Yeah, same
destroyer
thing.
of worlds. I mean, Yahweh Shai is the destroyer. I mean, he's the destroyer. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they're imitating. But like Judah says, the good guys often looked at as the bad guy, and the wicked are seen as the good guys. I mean, think about at the end when Iron Man, when he snapped his fingers, he said, "I am Iron Man." I mean, pure blasphemy when you think about it. You know.
Khan, and I want to bring out this preset right here just to get into that point a little further. Let me see. This is the book of Isaiah, the 66th chapter, and the 15th verse. Yeah, the 15th verse. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with the flames of fire. So for by the fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Man, that's heavy right there, man. That's heavy when you go into that, man. Like, because Yahweh Shah's coming with that fire. It's just talking about Yahweh Shah, man. Now, of course, in the Old Testament, right here, where it says, before the Lord will come with fire, that is talking ultimately about the Most High Yahweh. As you can see, this Lord is capitalized. But who is Yahweh using? He's using Yahweh Shah. John the 5th chapter. Let's just get that real quick. Let's get that John 5 real quick. This is John 5:22. For the Father judges no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honor not the Son, honors not the Father that which has sent him. So the Most High is going to use his Son to judge the earth through that fire. Like Yahweh Shah said, I'm come to send fire in the earth. What will I if it already be kindled? And I believe Luke, the 12th chapter, the 49th verse goes into that. And like I said, what will I if it already be kindled? The fire is not kindled yet, man. Yahweh Shah is coming to kindle. Yahweh Shah is coming to bring all kinds of fire on and rain down all kind of missiles and just tear up this place, man. Like those chariots are about to be vehicles of mass destruction. And like I got a video on my channel called, going into the chariot, the tools of basically how the chariots act as a double tool between destruction and salvation. And that's exactly what Yahweh Shah is coming with. He's coming with destruction and he's coming with salvation. You just want to make sure, and we all, Lord will, we want to make sure that we're on the right side of Yahweh Shah coming back on the chariots, because he's coming with that mass destruction too. It ain't just gonna be salvation. He coming to kill a lot of motherfuckers, man. Yahweh Shah coming to kill. He finna do a sweep on this place, like the scripture says. He will not meet thee as a man. When he came on the earth the first time, he came as a man. He came meek. He came humble. He came to just do the will of the Father and basically give a representation of how an Israelite man should behave himself, how an Israelite man should conduct himself. I'd rather say, in regards to worshiping the Father, acknowledging the Father, being as spiritual as you possibly can, waging off carnality as best as we can from our lives and things of that nature. Of course, Yahweh Shah is not like us. Yahweh Shah never engaged any fleshly acts that we are that we like to engage in, and there is no issue with us engaging in, like sex, drinking wine, and things like that. Yahweh Shah never did either of those things. But and there's nothing wrong with us doing that. But he showed us how to cast away the flesh for the spirit. But when he comes the second time, he's coming with all his full might and his full power that his Father gave him. He's coming to deliver us, Lord will, and smite down all these other nations and the wicked of our people. I just want to get a precept on that. This is Jude 1:14. And it's also going to that the chariots and that war in heaven, man. Because when they see that big old mass chariot come, as it speaks about in Zechariah the 5th chapter that goes into the dimensions of the chariots. Matter of fact, let me just pull that out real quick in Zechariah 5. Get that real quick. This is Zechariah 5 and 1. And then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he answered to me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. That's big as fuck. Like, look, I used to know the dimension, but I forgot it, and I have it written down somewhere, but I forgot.
10 cubits.
It's
Yeah.
like 18 inches.
No, that's way bigger than that, dog.
Well, I'm talking about 1 cubit. 1 cubit.
Oh,
I
see what you're saying.
Yeah, I my bad. I didn't mean to. I was just talking
It
about
was like 10 inches. Okay.
But I see what you're saying, bro. I see what you're
Yeah,
saying.
the word cubit is in reference to 18 inches, basically.
Yeah. Yahushua coming back with that big old chariot. Yahushua coming, man. That flying roll that he's coming on, because that's what that flying roll is represented of. You know, coming back to destroy this, just wipe this shit out, man. Do a whole sweep on this place. And this is Zechariah 5 and 4. And keep on. This is using the chariots. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of the house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. So what's the house of the thief, man? That's Babylon, man. That's Esau, Edom. You know what I'm saying? Like the scriptures say, for unrighteous dealings and riches got by deceit, the thief, the kingdom is transferred from one nation to another. So it's like of one people to another. You know, the kingdom is gonna go from Esau to us because he's that bloody man. There's a lot of blood on Esau Edom's hands, man. He got to pay for that shit. And Yahweh Shah is coming to render that payment, because you know he falsely bastardized the Most High's word, his name, his face, his son's name, his son's face, his son's mission, his son's apostles' mission, his prophet's mission. He bastardized it all, man. He's gonna have to pay for that shit in heavy blood. But continuing on, this is the book of Jude, the 1st chapter, the 14th verse. And Enoch also, the 7th from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints. Those going to be those chariots, the 10,000 of saints, headlined by Yahushua and Michael, verse 15, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds which they have ungodly committed, and all their hard speech which ungodly sinners have spoken against them. So when that war in heaven comes, and Yahushua, you know, when basically Esau Edom doesn't get rid of Yahushua, they don't defeat Yahushua and Michael when that war in heaven takes place. That's symbolizing the takeover is here. That's symbolizing the Son of Man has made his return, and it's time to clean up this place for righteousness to rule on the earth. And that's symbolizing basically everything of wickedness is about to be trotted out. Because think about it, the most mighty forces the wicked is going to pull out of the underground bunkers, and you know, they're gonna unload the gauntlet on Yahushua. They got all these different weapons of war. They're finna unload on Yahushua and Michael and the rest of the holy angels. Ain't none of that shit gonna work. It ain't even gonna make Yahushua blink, man. That's how powerful Yahushua is. That's how much power Yahushua is coming with, and that's gonna symbolize the downfall of wickedness and the rise of righteousness on the earth.
Yeah, and I just want to get the main two parts of 12 and 8 and 12 and 9, where it says, "And prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him." Now, we're not going to break down serpent, devil, Satan. We talked about that like 30 times on this channel. But in regards to his place not being found amongst in heaven, I want to break that down for y'all. So I don't know if you brothers are familiar with the dollar bill. I'm going to pull it out for y'all so y'all can see real quick. Let me see my fault. There you go. So I'm sure you brothers are familiar with the eagle, you know, the moon landing, the eagle has landed, etc., etc. So let's go to the book of Obadiah 1 and 4. It says, "Though you exalt yourself as the eagle, and though you set your nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring you down." So there's never been any other nation in the entire history of the world that's ever been able to go into space. You know, think about the eagle has landed, the moon. Think about you know, obviously you understand America is the great eagle. I know in I think it's Ezekiel 17 Ezekiel 17. Salute to the elder at GMS. They broke down also the eagle in regards to not only the Greek coin and the Roman coin, but the American eagle on the quarter. You know what I'm saying? So that eagle represents Esau, Edom. You know what I'm saying? Every all of their symbolism in regards to the eagle. So they're gonna set their nest amongst the stars. What is that? The space station. They got a UN space force that they're coming up with and all these shit because they understand that prophecy needs to be fulfilled. But the main thing that you got to understand is 12 and 9. They were cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with them. So all of the forces following Esau, Edom, mostly from America, all those things that they got out there, Russia, China, they're all going to get cast down from the Most High. Because what's going to happen is they're going to try to work together once they set up the mark of the beast, and it's all throughout society. They're going to have a quote unquote one world government. And what's going to happen is when Yahushua, Michael, the archangel, and all the other 10,000s of chariots come, they're going to be destroyed. And basically that space force is going to be no more. You see what I'm saying?
And the thing about it is, too, the word angel just means a messenger. That's all that angel means. So that's going into Esau, Edom being, him being casted out and all his messengers with him. So like I was just reading out in Jude, the first chapter, the 15th verse, that's going to all the messengers, all the people that work alongside Esau, Edom are going to be cast down as well. And I want to get another point on that in Jeremiah, the 49th chapter. This is Jeremiah 49 and 17. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, saith the Lord. No man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Behold, he shall come up like a lion from the swelling of Jordan against the habitation of the strong. But I will suddenly make him run away from her, and who is a chosen man that I may appoint over her. For who is like me, and who will appoint me to the time, and who was the shepherd that will stand before me? Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom and his purposes. He taketh the purpose against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall, and the cry at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of the woman in her pangs. So the Most High is going to tear up Edom, man. Mm-hmm. Tear up Edom and everybody that's rolling with them. The Most High going to tear them all up. They're going to be as a very lowly woman in that day. When Yahushua comes back, going to those dyed garments from Basra, like it says in verse 22, behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. This is going into, Yahushua is coming back to tear up Edom, man. Let's go to Isaiah, the 63rd chapter real quick. They ain't got no chance, man. They ain't got no
chance. And just to give y'all one illustration, I know you about to bring that up. If y'all brothers watch Independence Day, when the fucking chariots came and they opened up the beam and they just started destroying city by city of Babylon.
Yeah, they thought they was coming to save them. That shit
to party. Hey, let's get that real quick, Swin. I know you got it, but I want to get that where it says, "Think not I come to send peace, but send a sword."
God,
that's what 24.
That's Matthew 24. Yeah. I think earlier on, or it's Matthew 10.
Yeah, it's probably 10.
It's Matthew 10 and 20. Matthew 10 and 34.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that and then go ahead, Hitman after that.
No, so I was gonna say that scene is gonna. Oh, my bad. You was going first, my bad.
Yeah, I just want to do this. This is Matthew 10 and 34. Think not I am come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. I mean, think about all the alien movies that they have. We come in peace. We come in peace. What are they really alluding to? That war of the worlds, that war of the heavenly realm coming to attack this earthly realm. But like you said, Hitman, these people partying. Think about the scripture where it says before that day, they will be partying. They will be getting married. They'll be getting drunk. And then what's going to happen? The Most High is going to send his chariots. He's going to send his son, and they're going to destroy and desolate the entire earth, man.
Con, and a lot of people when they see the aliens, they gonna think they friendly. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? They think they gonna get beamed up.
Yep,
Nah, you
yep.
gonna get fucked.
If you gonna get fucked up in that day, bro, you gonna get it. Like these wicked people, man, they thinking that, you know, like what does Scripture say in Amos the 3rd chapter? You know, woe unto them that desire the day of the Lord. You're gonna have some of these people that's thinking that they finna get like raptured up. Oh, this is the rapture vehicle. See, we told y'all the rapture was accurate. We told y'all that Jesus was coming back for us. Oh hell no!
And
Don't speak so soon, buddy.
what's the scripture where it talks about how everybody has drank in the cup of Babylon?
I think that's 17.
That's Revelation 18:2, I believe.
18. Oh, okay. It's verse 3.
Verse 3, okay. 18, it's 18:3.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So, you know, pretty much that's saying y'all shook hands with her. So don't think you not going down with her, man. Birds of a feather flock together, right?
Con. And that's the
And I
thing
just
right
want to
there.
say,
Yeah, go
I just
ahead.
want to say, don't let these, you know what I'm saying, don't fall for the dumb shit. Oh, they ain't never been to space, and man, bullshit. Okay, the Most High put the understanding on the so-called Caucasians, Edomites, to create certain inventions, to go into that stratosphere or space or whatever, so they can fulfill prophecy, bro. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, it is what it is. That type of technology has already been built. They've already been up there. Now they're getting zealous. You know what I'm saying? As it's meant in prophecy as well, as we've already brung out. The ego is getting zealous. So it is what it is. The Most High gave Esau that gift. What the hell? Most High gave Esau that gift to invent that type of technology, and that same type of technology is what's going to get a foot stuck up their ass. So it is what it is. But they've been in space. Don't believe all that dumbass conspiracy talking about they ain't never been up there. No, that's bullshit.
Facts, bro. But let's get into the next part.
Just real quick. But Con, just real quick. I want to get into back into that Jeremiah 49 and go into that Isaiah 63, talking about that Basra, because you know, in terms of Edom being destroyed, you know, with that war going into that war in heaven once again, you know, once Yahweh tackles down the wicked elite of Edom, you know, he's gonna come. He's coming to finish the job after. Like they're gonna try to war with him before he's able to like come finish the job. Once he gets rid of them, he's coming to finish the job. But he's starting with them. But they're gonna go hide in the underground bunkers and whatnot, like it says in the Amos the 9th chapter, and Psalm the 149th chapter, I believe, that goes into, you know, us taking in captivity the nobility of Edom and whatnot, the high ranking members. But these regular people out here gonna be fucking finished and done. But just going back into this is Jeremiah 49:17. Also, Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at the plagues thereof. Going back down to verse 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. I want to go into that word pangs real quick. And just go into that. That's going into, you know, sorrow, destruction, you know, distress, trouble, adversity. So, you know, basically when a woman, you know, when she's going through that time, man, you know, when a woman's going through that, you know, a woman's going through that her period or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? She's going through that time of uncleanliness pertaining to the scriptures, you know, and she getting all kind of pain and, you know, cramps and, you know, She can't, some women have it worse than others. Some women, can't get out of bed. Some women, they just are limited with certain functions that they can do and whatnot. Esau, Edom, when they gonna get, it's gonna be 2,000 times worse than a woman on her worst period cycle. It's gonna be crazy the amount of pain that they're gonna be feeling. This is the book of Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, in the first verse, because Yahushua is coming with a sword to destroy them, and this is representing that blood we're gonna go into. This is Isaiah 63:1. Who was this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, that is glorious in his apparel, travailing in the greatness of his strength, that I speak in righteousness, mighty to save? Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat. So the reason why I said red in thy apparel is because the Most High is coming to shed blood on the nation of Edom, man. The Most High is coming. I mean, not the most. Well, the Most High is authorized, but Yahushua is coming to and Yahushua is going to be as that eagle on that day. He's going to be the eagle. Edom props himself up as the eagle, but really the eagle is Yahushua, the most powerful, man to ever walk the face of the earth, the most powerful being that's going to be in the skies when he makes his return. He's coming to execute blood and make them pay for the bullshit and for the wickedness they've done on this earth via bloodshed. So that's why it says, thou red and not apparel and not garments like them that tread at the wine fat. He's gonna, the wine fat, the dark red color. That's gonna be the representation. That's how a lot of Edomites is gonna look in that day. He's gonna be blood spilling out of people's body for which way you go. It ain't gonna be no funny games in that time period if you're an Edomite, man.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. But and also I just want to bring this one precept in regards to what Hitman was talking about, where it says in that day they will be partying like the days of Noah. So this is verse 37 of Matthew 24. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So once all these quote unquote B cards are done, because I don't know if you brothers understand, the MOB is going to be the solution to all this pestilence. Once they get the MOB on the scene and they're quote unquote able to track your symptoms before they even get, to be, because if you look at the technology where they're using the MOB, basically they're trying to say that it's going to be able to detect symptoms of C19 before they even pop up. So that's what they're selling people on, dumb motherfuckers and, simpletons. But once that happens, they're going to let the people go out and roam again. Not like how it was before, but, if you're a good sheep, they'll give you some type of freedom. So they're going to be partying thinking that, all the pestilence is up. And then that day, man, when Yahushua comes and returns, dog, they're going to be crying, man. But I want to get into the rest of this. I know we almost done. We've been on here for a cool minute. So let's just bring that up, and we just
get 10 down to 12, and then stop after 12.
All right. So this is the book of Revelation 12 and 10. It says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of his testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth he have a short time."
So just going into that right there, we can just break that down precept by precept, going into verse 10, where it talks about the accuser of our brethren is cast down. That's going into the accuser of our brethren, that's going into the wicked, into the evil, man. They're gonna be cast down in that day. Like they're gonna be, like, the Most High is gonna make an example out of them. They're gonna be the example for the whole world. Don't fuck with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. And he's gonna be cast down to the earth, and he's gonna be trodden down that day. But I want to get a precept to go into that that specific point right there. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, the 6th chapter, and it's the 2nd Esdras 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth. So Esau's the end, man. When he gets cast down, when he's taken out of power, he's no longer in that heaven-like state, like it says In one of these scriptures, one of these verses here talks about. Okay, yeah. His okay, verse 8, when it goes to his place found no longer in heaven, like he's no longer gonna dwell in that heaven-like state. We're gonna be in heaven at that point. Now, not immediately after this, but we're gonna be in heaven eventually, shortly after this time period right here where Yahushua comes to cast them down. But they're gonna be taken out of heaven, they're gonna be put into hell, and it's gonna be hell forever. Like it says, Esau's the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning that follow. Esau is gonna be done. His society is gonna be over forever. He's gonna be cast down for the remainder of days forever, and no chance of redemption ever again. Let's go to the book of Obadiah real quick. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 8. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understand out of the mount of Esau, and thy mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed, and the end of them, and the dismayed to the end, Salak, that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter for thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Basically, the accuser of our brethren, thy violence against our brother Jacob, or thy brother Jacob, Esau's brother, but our brothers, Jacob being, us being Jacob, but also Esau's brother, because Esau is the brother of Jacob. Shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Done. No more. They're gonna be cut off for the rest of eternity, man. And that's gonna start with that process of them being cast down, basically back into that hell-like state that they're meant to dwell in, forever.
And you can get that in Daniel in regards to Esau being. Well, actually, I'll get that later. Go ahead, Hitman. I'm gonna get that after you.
I just wanted to, after Malak read that verse, I just want to get this real quick. This is Malachi 3:6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. That's for the Christians out there.
God. Esau wasn't done away with, during the time period of David. That's bullshit.
Hey, real quick, where's the scripture in Daniel where it says that the beast will be destroyed forever and ever? Oh, here it is. I found it right here. This is a Daniel 7:11. Just so y'all understand, if you're an Edomite, nigga, you're. I ain't even gonna get into all the words I could say. I might get this shit banned. But this is the book of Daniel 7:11. I beheld, then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion take away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. So when Yahushua returns, Esau's getting blotted out of the book, dog. They're getting erased from existence. When we get into the kingdom, I mean, they will have a quote unquote 1,000 years of slavery, but after that time period, you will never ever know what a heathen is. You'll never know what an Edomite is.
What an Edomite is, yeah.
You won't even like our forefathers. I mean, our what is it called? Kids, our children, 30, 40 generations down. We're gonna be like, yeah, remember the Edomites? They're like, what's an Edomite, Dad? The levels are, dog. And that's just how it is. They're gonna be destroyed and given to the burning flame. And I want to go back to Ezekiel 36 when they
gonna ask what's an Edomite. You're gonna point to your pet dog in the kingdom.
Hey,
that's crazy.
Don't say that to the fake Jews on YouTube, man. But what you was talking about earlier, though, when you said the Most High is going to show them who He really is. This is the book of Ezekiel 36, verse 21. It says, "But I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen, wherever they went. Therefore, saying to the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord, I do not do this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which you have profaned amongst the heathen." Because what happened is our people broke the law, didn't do what they should have done. And honestly, they were approached among the people because they were approached to the Most High. So the only reason why the Most High sent His son Yahushua was to give us a chance to be grafted back in through His son's blood and His sacrifice. But going down to verse 23, it says, "And I, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which you have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all the countries, and I will bring you into your own land. So when this time period happens, he's going to sanctify us. I mean, let me just get 25. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and you shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. A new heart will I also give you, and a new spirit will I put within you. And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I'll give you a heart of flesh. And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. And you shall keep my judgments and do them. So this ties into 31 and 33 of Jeremiah, where the Most High will put his laws in our inward parts. Basically, even though our righteousness is like filthy rags in the eyes of the Most High, he will have mercy and grace because he's going to use us to glorify his name. I mean, when you think about Exodus, I think it's 20 and 5, where it says, blessed is any that bless you and curses any that curse you. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but we are a blessed and chosen people. So at the end of the day, regardless of how low we've been, the Most High has to exalt us because from him, bring us up. I mean, because when he brings us up, it brings him up. You see what I'm saying? Because he's the one true living God that only Jacob can see. So in that day, when this comes in, we get lifted up. We get the body of a quote unquote God. You know, we get powers. We trotting down heathens. They're going to know who we are. But more importantly, they're going to know who the Most High is, man. So you got to understand that. And that's why it says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, because through the blood of Yahweh Shai, we were able, if we believe in him and the Most High deems us worthy, we can overcome the devil. We can overcome Esau. We can overcome the beast system. You see what I'm saying? And we will rejoice, you heavens, and you that dwell in them. You know, woe to the inhabitants of the earth of the sea, for the devils come down onto you having great wrath. So because, you know, these demons, these devils understand the prophecies to come, they have to do what? Like Swin always says, they have to attack the Most High through his people. That's why right now what's coming down with this V card. They got a short time right now. Every day, new mandate, new mandate, new mandate, because they understand that their rulership is about to come to an end. So at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what's going to happen, you know, in the future for them, because there's nothing good that can come out of it. So they're going to come.
They're going to be done.
Great wrath.
They're going to be done forever, man.
And real quick, I just want to get this precept because, you know, they like to say that we're the lost tribe, the lost tribes, the tribes of Israel are lost, the 12 lost tribes. And they also, like Swin had said before, they like to say that the Edomites are extinct. There's no such thing as those people anymore. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 16. There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this is also vanity and vexation of spirit.
God, there's no end ever, man. You know, the Most High, you know, that's the thing, like with the world. The world is just a revolving door of the rise and fall of kingdoms and societies, man. But there's no end to any nation. Like everyone on this earth today comes from one of the 18 biblical nations. And everyone on the earth today, Most High has not done away with any. Yes. And you know what? Just how Israel's been scattered, so is Esau. Esau scattered all over the world too. And you know what? That nigga down your block that always fight with niggas, that nigga might be an Edomite, bro. That nigga might be an Edomite, bro.
A lot of these brothers is more snake than Esau. Shit.
Hey, bro, they got that Esau spirit. They could be an Edomite, bro. You never know. You know, we ain't gonna know that till Yahweh Shah returns. But like the brother, you know, Hitman had brought out, there's no end to any of the kingdoms, man. Like the Most High hasn't. There's nowhere in the scriptures where the Most High has cut off a nation from existence in terms of like on this side, in terms of just the whole nation is extinct. Not yet.
Esau not yet. Record.
That's the thing. That I'm glad you brought that up. Even in the kingdom, the Most High ain't finna do that. The Most High's gonna have it where only one nation is gonna go, but all the other heathens, they're gonna go into their own lands after their 1,000-year subjection and servitude, man. So the Most High ain't even finna do that in the kingdom. So why would he do it on this side, man?
Yes, sir.
There's that Christian jargon, bro. But I wanted to hit on this quick precept and then go into that Revelation 12 and 11. But this is the book of Job, the 5th chapter. And the 36th verse, he preserveth not the life of the wicked, but giveth right to the poor. So the wicked, they're not gonna be, they ain't gonna prosper, man. The Most High is not preserving their life. The Most High has them
Job
marked
5
for
and 36.
destruction. I said 5 and 36. I meant 36 and 6.
All right.
Yeah, the Most High has them marked for destruction. You know, ain't no getting out of it. That's a lifetime contract of destruction that Esau Edom is in with the Heavenly Father. Ain't no getting out of it. This is that's it's a slave deal they under. You know, they in a 360 deal to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. You know, for judgment and destruction. He let him be on top right now, but it's gonna come time when he want his payment back. And when it comes, he's not gonna preserve none of their lives. He gonna have them destroyed. And this is also Job 5 and 12. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So that's the thing. Part of the devices of the crafty is these ships, these cannons, these grenades, these ballistic missiles, all that shit, man. But Most High's going to disappoint that. Most High's going to show them that is nothing compared to my son and his storm of holy, my son Michael and the storm of holy angels that are going to come and wipe you out of existence, man. He's going to disappoint the devices of the crafty being that shrewd man, that cunning man, that serpent-like man, that deceiving man, Esau, Edom, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. They're not going to be able to perform their enterprise, man. They're not going to be able to fully set up their new world order. They're going to get, the Most High is going to allow them to get a way through, but they're not going to fully set up their enterprise. They're not going to fully set up their dictatorship structure, that the world servitude to them, that they're trying to, impart, impart in society. They're not going to fully set it up. The Most High is going to cut it off when he sends his son back to destroy it. Because when they start seeing them chariots link up, that's when you know what? Okay, it's time. And they're gonna be shooting. They're gonna be trying to get Howard shot down, and it ain't gonna work. The Most High is gonna disappoint them through his son, beaming the missiles on their ass, and a lot of these regular Edomites gonna be killed, and then the nobility of Esau, man, and even some of them might be killed, but some of them are gonna be preserved for slaves in the kingdom for us. Lord will, we of that elect. But I want to get on that point in Revelation 12 and 11 where it says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. That's going into the elect right here. See, all this right here in Revelation 12 is talking about future prophecy. This is what has not happened yet. But later on in Revelation 12, we're gonna go back in time to go back into that day as well. But it's also that day and also now too. But or future too. But Revelation 12 and 11, I want to get a precept on that. Actually, you know what, Salak. I know I'm kind of all over the place, moving fast, but I want to get one quick precept real quick in the book of Habakkuk to go into that, because the word woe means destruction. There's a key precept about Esau Edom's fate in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Let me just go to that real quick.
You talking about verse 18?
Yeah, but a little bit up too though.
Like verse 12.
I gotta see where I want to start at. I always struggle finding Habakkuk, man. For some reason, I always struggle finding that book.
Nahum or Micah, right before Zephaniah, bro.
There we go. Yeah, because it's so small, like it's easy to miss it. But I'm gonna start at 8. Actually, this is Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, and the 8th verse. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, for the violence of the land, of the city, and all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Behold, it is not of the Lord of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Woe to him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thy bottle to him, that maketh him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing be on thy glory. For the I'm gonna stop there because going into this right here, who's that man that established the city by blood? That's Esau Edom, man. He got this society by rape, rob, and murder, man. People always say that and just throw it out there, but it's true. He got his societal governing structure. He set up his seven ruling heads in the various lands, but through rape, rob, and murder. The Spaniards over here, the British, the German, the ancient Roman Empire, and the revived Roman Empire, the fucking French. You said who?
Portuguese,
the Portuguese, the Germans, all them, man, all got they all destroyed the natives of those particular lands through rape, rob, and murder, through blood, through bloodshed, through travail, through mass trauma to the people. Also, heavy psychological programming by just overwhelming power that they came with, which of course the Heavenly Father gave to them, but they got to pay for that. The Most High put them in that position, but they are going to have to pay for that as well. Like it says, woe to him that built a town with blood and established a city by iniquity. You're not doing things in righteousness, man. When the Most High wants you to set up things in righteousness, he's going to provide everything for you. Now, he might authorize on the right-hand path for you to go through and kill a city and whatnot. Like you go into the book of Joshua and whatnot, when we were taking all the cities and all this and the third. Yeah, we went through and we smote other people and all that, but that was under righteousness, under Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. We didn't just go in on our own accord and just start killing people. No, of course, I mean we did, but that was when we was going off. But when we was doing things in righteousness, it was under the orders of the Most High. We would go into these other towns and smote all their men and take their women and their things like that. That's what we had to do in order to get possession of that land for one of our 12 tribes could dwell there, man. That had to happen. So the Most High will do that on the right hand path. But Esau Edom, he's done it through wickedness, and he did it for the purposes of deceiving and deception and making a lot of and imparting snares into that various land and covering the Most High in the act. That's the thing. The Most High will assist us in doing it, but he wants to be acknowledged in the fact as well as being the authority to execute it. Esau Edom just wanted to do it all his own and then try to bastardize and cover the face of the Most High on top of that. That's why he's going to have to pay for his bloodshed. He's going to have to pay for him establishing his towns by iniquity because it wasn't under the order of the Heavenly Father. Then on top of that, he tried to bastardize and try to, cover and just shame the Heavenly Father on top of it too. They ain't getting away from that scotch-free.
To add to your point, I want to get Revelation 11:7. That way brothers understand that this all ties in with what you said in regards to the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Verse 7, it says, and when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them and shall overcome and kill them. And their bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. So I just want to stop. Well, I'll read 10. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts to another, because these 2 prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. So when you understand the beast, aka Edom, he's going to make war against them. Who's them? The 2 prophets, aka the 2 witnesses, which is what? Northern kingdom, southern kingdom, the Israelites. And that's why when you read Revelation 12:12, the devil has come unto you having great wrath because he knows he has a short time. That's what they're doing with these V cards, man. Because the main people who ain't going to take this shit, especially in Mystery Babylon, is going to be Jakes, bro. I mean, you see some posts saying that only 30% of the quote unquote black community got jabbed up. I don't know how true that is, but I know for a fact that our people are going to be the ones who buck up against the system, because it's prophesied for us to buck up against the system.
And it's just naturally not in us as well to really, of course, a lot of Jakes are going to do it, but it's just natural. I mean, Jake Ben don't even go to the doctor, man. Don't even go to the dentist. Like this is not in us to manipulate it in our body in that way. It's not natural. Our mindset is not catered towards that.
We're not putting a fucking chip in our brain, in our hand, none of that bullshit, man. So at the end of the day, when these other nations realize that we're not bucking up to this new beast system, they're gonna go out and they're gonna say, hey, We need to put these people in camps. We need to put these people in chains. We need to get rid of these people because they're what's stopping us. So there's going to be a lot of our dead bodies. That's why it says in verse 9, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves, because they're going to want to kill us off and not even give us a proper burial. You know what I'm saying? And then that's where it says in verse 10, where it says, or verse 11, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them that saw them. So during that 3.5 day time period, again, what is that? The 1,302 score days, the time period we're in the wilderness until the Most High allows his angels, his chariots to raise us up. You know, they're going to be on there and rejoicing when we get cast out of prison because we're not taking a V card, because we're not a part of the new B system, man. You see what I'm saying? Everybody else is going to get deceived. So because they're deceived, they're going to see us as the enemy when the enemy is right in front of them.
And real quick, I just want to get this precept because that was a good point you brought up about our people not taking this jab. This is Genesis chapter 49, verse 9. Judah is a lion's whelp from the prey. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stopped down and couch as a lion and as an old lion. Who shall rouse him up? So it's looking like this COVID-19 thing is going to rise up a lot of jakes to buck up against the system.
A lot of jakes ain't gonna really be down with it like that. And you know, that's when that lion that is naturally in us, you know, is going to emerge. You know, and ain't gonna be willing to stand. I mean, a lot of Jake is going, even if they're not all the way with the righteousness path of the Most High and His Son, they gonna stand up just for themselves and their character as a man. You know, and especially a lot of these older Jakes, they gonna, you know, if they haven't been all the way conditioned and they're not all the way pussified, they gonna just as they care for their character and just their manhood, they gonna stand up for something that they believe in.
And my bad for saying that word, bro. I just caught myself.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you talking about the code word?
Yeah.
Oh, you good, bro.
Yeah, it is what it is, bro. But
Hey, you want to add on to this?
Yeah, I want to get that point of Revelation 12 and 11. I want to get a precept about that, going into that blood of the Lamb. Let's go to the book of Hebrews, the 9th chapter. This is Hebrews 9 and 11. But Hamashiach, being come a high priest of good things to come by a greater and more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, that is to say, not of this building, neither by the blood of the goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. For with the blood of bulls and of goats and the ashes of the heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctified and purified of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Hamashiach, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to Yahweh, purge your conscience from the dead works to serve the living power. And for this, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance. So when it goes into verse 11 and it's going to they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, this is that process right here. This is detailing that blood of the Lamb and the purpose of it, like it says in verse 11. But Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, be a greater and more perfect tabernacle. So in the tabernacle, we will perform blood sacrifices. We will take it to the high priest. So like the high priest will perform the sacrifice and whatnot. But Yahweh Shai's blood serves as a greater and more perfect sacrifice than any sacrifice of like it says right here in verse 12, neither by the blood of goats or calves. It serves as a way better sacrifice without any blemishes at all. The most perfect man to ever walk the earth. Way better than any sacrifice of a goat or of a calf or whatever it may be, any kind of animal sacrifice. Yahweh Shai's blood is way more pure, way more vital, and way more acceptable and pleasing to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Keep in mind, animal sacrifice is something that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is pleased with, man. But he sent his own son as a sacrifice because he's even more pleased with that. That goes to show you the power and the mercy and that's in that blood of the Lamb, man, and why it's so that the preciousness, the precious quality of that blood of the Lamb. Because, like I said, animal sacrifice is something that the Most High is very pleased with, and we will and something that will go on in the kingdom. But for redemption for us, that pureness, that purity that's in the blood of the Lamb is far worth anything that is, you know, fleshly and things of that nature. I just want to get one more precept.
Well, real quick before you do, is it regards to 11? Because I was going to read something for that one.
Yes, in 11, yeah.
All right, go ahead, bro.
This is Matthew the 26th chapter. It's Matthew 26 and 25. This is going into the last the Passover before you know, Yahweh's, you know, crucifixion. This is Matthew 25 and 24. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said again, Thou hast said. As they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for the many remission of sins. So like it goes into Revelation 12:11, which says, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. That's that blood of the Lamb for the remission of sins. So just detailing how, you know, we're not perfect in this truth. We're not going to be, you know, 100% on point all the time Israelites. But through the blood of the Lamb, aka through the remaining remission of sins, we have a chance at election through that precious blood of that Lamb, which goes to show how precious that blood is, because, you know, we go off, we commit sin, you know, we do this and that third against, we even in trying to keep the law perfectly, we're going to go off just by naturally being in captivity. You're going to eat something that has a little bit of pork in it, if it made with it and you had no clue that was in it. That pork in the water bottles, you know, all of us are pretty much adulterers, because you know most, like, the thing about it is that most women are not virgins. So if you have been with a woman and she's no longer a virgin, and that man that took her virginity is not dead, technically you're on adultery. So it's like, I mean, you got a whole bunch of adulterers and fornicators walking around, but we have redemption through, you know, the blood of Yahushua. Just going to show how pure that is, and through that we have hope that, you know, we can die for this truth and still make it up on those chariots, man. That's like it says in the word of their testimony, they love not their lives unto death. Why do we have that hope that we can love in our lives unto death? Because of the blood of the Lamb, because we know that the blood of the Lamb was for the remission of sins. If we knew that we was damned because we broke one law, then it's like, all right, you know, we'll just give up, because there's no point of making it. Just go ahead and give up and just say, fuck it. Just go with Esau, Edom. There's no point. Yeah. You know, of course, I'm definitely not saying do that, but I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, if we didn't have redemption to the Heavenly Father, in your mindset, the way any normal human would rationalize it in their mind, just like, all right, you know, fuck it, like, because we all, I mean, that's just natural human nature. We all want something to look forward to. What we have to look for, scriptures even say, you look for, pray for a few days, have hope in the kingdom. The scriptures tell us commands us and instructs us to do these things. But how do we have that hope? We have that hope because the blood of the Lamb acts as a remission of sin for us. So we know that we have, as long as we're on this earth, we got a fighting chance to make it. And that's only because the blood of the Lamb. And because of that, we can have it our minds that we don't love our lives. We don't love this world, because we know that there's something greater to come on the other end of it. And we have opportunity to get it through the blood of the Lamb.
Exactly, bro. In the second fold of that scripture says, and by the word of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto death. So that's why you can't love this life, because at the end of the day, you know, when you understand Hamashiach and what he didn't love this life to the point where he wasn't able to do the will of the Most High, which was for him to die on the cross for our sins. This is the book of Revelation 2 and 10. For none of those things which you shall suffer, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried. You shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give you a crown of life. So, you know, those brothers who are of the hopeful elect, man, in that day when you become of the elect, Most High willing, you know, you're going to be those who overcame, whatever that may be. And at the end of the day, regardless of what Esau, Edom, and these other nations call upon to get your blood, to, you know, get you on the streets to kill you, because they're going to have a wrath on you. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, you can't love this life. You can't love nothing in this life, but you got to do whatever it takes in order to please the Heavenly Father. You see what I'm saying?
Con. So just continuing on, that's a beautiful point. We can't love this life, man. We got to be willing to give it all up. And the scriptures say that those are comforting words. And Salak, I got to go ahead and get this real quick. Now that you brought that out through the Spirit, brother, I got to go ahead and get this one because the scriptures say those are comforting words, man. This is the book of First Thessalonians, the 16th chapter. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with a voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words. So the scripture says these are comforting words, man. If you got to die for this truth, man, count it all joy, man. Go be a martyr for this. If that's your lot, I'm not saying go out of your way to do it. You know what I'm saying? But if that is your lot, if that's your lot from the Heavenly Father, then count it all joy to be a martyr for this truth. Because if so, man, you're gonna be one of the and you of the elect, man. Especially you died in the name of Yahweh Shai, man. I mean, hey, you died in the name of Yahweh Shai. Like one would assume that you of the elect, man. Like you're gonna be one of the first ones to raise up in them chariots, man. That's why those are comforting words, and we only have ability and access to do that, like it says in verse 11, through that blood of the Lamb, man. That's why that blood is so pure and so valuable to us as a nation. And why anyone who disrespects Yahweh Shai doesn't value that blood that he shed for us, and how it's the only way that we even have access to have this hope and this ability to have the Spirit poured on us to do the work and to preach the word and whatnot, to even have hope that better days are coming out of this bullshit ass, Esau control, wicked ass society.
Con, and I just want to get a quick point. That martyr part, the way I look at it, you got these heathen nations that worship, gods we know are fake. For instance, the Islam dudes.
Yeah.
Those dudes strap bombs to themselves and commit self-suicide for Allah, which we know isn't a real God. Why can't we don't even have to do that crazy ass shit. Why can't we just, you know what I'm saying? Why can't we just have to lay down our lives for a God we know is real?
That's a yeah, but that's a great point, bro. And that's why this is a lesson for y'all, man. But I don't want this shit to go too long. I know we've been on this motherfucker.
Yeah, the last part is pretty much a breeze to go
it's
through.
The spirit, man.
Yeah, the spirit wanted us to be long, but go ahead and get 13 first.
I'm gonna read 13 and 14, bro.
The 14 touches on a different point, though. That's why I said just get 13 first.
It says, this is Revelation 12:13. And when the dragon saw that he cast unto the earth, that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. So this is reference, I'm assuming, Yahweh Shai when he was being, oh, wait, go ahead, bro. You break it down, bro.
So with 13 right here, when it goes into when that dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man child. What that's going into is, like I said earlier, that dragon representing, Herod, the Roman Empire and whatnot, and the woman, which was brought forth, the woman just going into the nation of Israel, which brought forth the man child being Yahushua. Now we're going back. That's the thing about Revelation 12. Like I said, we're going back in time once again to go to that period of time of 70 AD, and also when Yahushua was born as well, going to those two different time periods. He was trying to persecute Yahushua, and also that time period where the Roman Empire, aka the dragon, as well, was basically coming to persecute us as a nation and take over us, which they successfully did. And like I said earlier on in 70 AD. But yeah, you can go. That's pretty much it's pretty much just a repeat of what we were talking about earlier. But go into verse 14 because it's a different point that I want to hit on Revelation 14. So go ahead and get 14 and get 14 and 15, and then you can get 16 and 17 because those we can group those 2 points together.
In this verse 12, Revelation 12:14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and a half a time from the face of the serpent. So just stopping there. Well, real quick, I'll do, and the serpent cast out of his mouth the water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. So first half is the woman. Y'all understand that's Israel. Now the 2 wings is a representative of not only the nation of Israel, of the northern and the southern kingdom, but just in reference to her being able to escape, that she might fly into the wilderness. Because you brothers got to understand, when you get into the wilderness, you're going to be relying fully on the Spirit, and the Most High is going to place you where you need to go and keep you away from these drones, these satellites, these UN soldiers, these tanks, and all these things. And he's going to be able to nourish you for that time. Remember the time, 3.5 days, 1,200, 62 days from the face of the serpent. Meaning what? When we're in that wilderness, when the Most High has made us through predestination to not get the affliction that's to come upon the whole earth, he's going to give us, a safe place. In verse 15, and I'm going to get a picture for this, it's in the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away at the flood. Because you really think that Esau, Edom, is going to let 1/3 of our nation just get away clean, Scots-free, without trying to come after us? Of course not. He's going to come after us. And what does that flood represent? Well, I'll show you. The flood represents the flood of soldiers. Think about it. They say they came onto him like a flood. You always hear that. So this is going to be a flood of UN soldiers. You know what I'm saying? They got UN soldiers. They got the tanks. They got all these things that they're setting up. That way they can, take out as many souls as possible.
So, and Con, while you got that picture up, I want to get this quick precept right here. This is Joel, the 3rd chapter, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be weakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. So that's what they're getting ready for.
God, that time is coming. That's going to be that next abomination of desolation. That's going to be the final abomination of desolation. Actually, like the brother read in Joel, the 3rd chapter. Man, the Most High putting that spirit on them to just fight, to just have a warlike, kill or be killed type spirit. That time is coming. That's going to be that flood that they coming with. Them troops, them soldiers, them militias, them military grade weapons. I mean, it's gonna come at you from all angles, man. So you're gonna need protection from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua in that day, just to see the light of day, just to make it out, just to move on from one day to the next. Because if not, man, you're willing to get got by anything in that day, because it's literally gonna be a flood. When it's flooding, man, flood is coming at you from all angles. The next thing you know, the thing is already whatever structure you're in, whether it be a town, a city, or even a house, it's already overflowed, because it starts out everything. Exactly. It starts out as a little bit and then just increases and increases and increases. Next thing you know, it's filled all the way up to the brim, man. And when there's a flood, when you're deep in the flood, ain't no way you're getting out without some kind of help and protection. And that help protection is gonna come in the form of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua.
Also, too, when it comes to a flood, you get a flood warning. That's what we doing. We watchmen of the Lord. I mean, let's go to Ezekiel 33 real quick, and we'll move on.
But just before you do that, I want to get a point real quick on that flood. So we can stay on this point. This is Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. So that standard against him is talking about that spiritual power. Now, when you go into Revelation 13 down to and you could tie in 14 and 15 to 16 down to 17 as well. 14 to 16 down as well. When you go into this, now this is twofold as well. This is talking about when we fled into the Africas, into the mountains and whatnot, when during the siege of 70 AD. This is talking about that as well, because that serpent and the eagles, the 2 wings, that also just a representation of the ability to escape punishment, the ability to a swift escape of danger. That does represent that as well. So that did happen then. Like Yahushua said, let them be in the city, flee to the mountains and whatnot. So that is talking about that time period. And you did have a portion of our people who followed the Messiah's orders, and they left because of the coming destruction, the abomination of desolation that was coming. But we're about to experience another abomination of desolation, and this time it's not going to be us actually fleeing into an actual like mountain and whatnot, like it was in the old time period. Yahweh shall lead you there. And the most we're gonna have to be pilgrims on the earth. Some of us are going to FEMA camps. Some of us are gonna die. Some of us, whatever our lot happens to be from the Heavenly Father, we have to go through that. But if we are in the wilderness and we are in certain areas and whatnot, where things seem bleak, the Most High is going to raise up a standard against that enemy that's coming in. Those troops, those soldiers, people that try to rat you out, and now they coming. The Most High he's going to lift up a standard. He's going to do something, man. I mean, we don't know exactly how it's going to look, but the Most High going to do something where he's going to help us out. Like Brandon was talking about earlier with portals. We have a portal where we run, and it's like a tree. A tree just randomly opens. We run into that tree, and now we're 50 miles away from the destruction. Or the Most High raises us up on a chariot and drops us off in another location, because it's not time just yet, but he's going to deliver us from that coming travail. But also when that heavy spiritual power comes in, we're gonna be able to do things like it says in Isaiah. Fuck it, let's just get it. It's Isaiah the 40th chapter and around the 31st verse. But they that wait upon the Lord, actually, you know what? I'm gonna go down to 39. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up their wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. So, man, we're going to get that heavy, heavy, heavy spiritual power after Yahweh Shai is beat down these people and they're coming in after us, man. That standard is going to be lifted, heavily on us, and we're going to have big time spiritual power in that day to be able to stave off our enemies and whatnot. And it's going to be a beautiful time period. Like I always say, we're going to be able to jump 50 feet in the air. We're going to be able to have super strength. We're going to be able to flick something and it tips over. We're going to be able to evade missiles like it's nothing. Like, it's going to be a crazy time period we're going to be in, man.
What script did you just read in Isaiah?
Isaiah 40 and 29 through 31.
All right, that's the spirit. I got a precept as well. And it also goes in regards to the flood, and it's in Isaiah too. So this is Isaiah chapter 59 verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. And that goes to what he was just talking about with the spiritual power.
That's what standard represents.
And also when it comes to the flood, like I was saying earlier, I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're just preparing our brothers to avoid the fucking flood, because he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. I mean, like I said, you think about what's going on with these vaccines and all that, V-cars or whatever. It's coming down quickly, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're moving so fast, because they're trying to get as many people as possible before you get truly awakened. And I just want to get this in Ezekiel 33:3. If when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people. Whoever hears the sound of the trumpet and take not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head. So because the Most High has woken us, each of us individuals up, brothers throughout the world, other camps and stuff like that, we just getting the blood off of our hand to waken up the people to what's to come, and to make sure that we can help save as many of the Most High's holy remnant as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Con. That's like you said, bro. That's what a watchman does. A watchman warns the people. Let's get a precept on that real quick. In Isaiah, the 62nd chapter, Isaiah 62:6. I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, or Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence, and give him no rest till he establish, till he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. So that's what we're doing right now, man. We want to be that praise in the earth. We want to be part of that praise in the earth. So we want to be those watchmen. It's going to warn the people so that, we can be it, and Lord will, you can be it with us, and Lord will, first Lord will with that, and you can be Lord will with it with us too. We can be that. We can once Yahweh Shai comes back and cleans this place up, and we assist Yahweh Shai cleaning this place up, as you can read in Ezekiel the 39th chapter. Lord will, we take part of that praise that Jerusalem is going to be in the earth, and things of that nature. But those with Lord will, we continue to be those watchmen. Just let our people know about the coming destruction that's coming. And I want to get a precept real quick as well in Ezekiel the 33rd chapter. It's Ezekiel 33, and I'm gonna just get the point. Ezekiel 33, similar to Habakkuk 2 and 3. And when this cometh to pass, lo it come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. That's like it says, when it cometh to pass, lo it come. It's gonna come, man. The vision is not gonna tarry forever. It's gonna come. Lo it come. The vision is gonna come. Then shall they know that a prophet have been among them, or a member of the hopeful elect. You know what I'm saying? It's been among you in that
Hey,
day, warning you and telling you about the coming destruction.
and we seeing that every day, man. You know, all this shit that I was telling my mom and my grandma and all those people who didn't believe. I mean, the shit happening, bro. Pretty soon they're gonna make it where you can't fly. So it's like, hey, man, you know, you just gotta keep doing the work because again, the Most High is not a liar, bro. Everything that he told the prophets and our forefathers of old to put in his book will come to pass. Whether it was 1,000 years, 2,000, 50 years, 10 years. Hey, man, it's gonna come, but it's gonna come on the Most High's time. And from what the Most High is showing us through the signs, that time period is getting shorter and shorter.
Con. And go ahead and get 16 to 17. We can round it out.
Yes, this is the end of it. Revelation 12:16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and had a testimony of Yahushua Mashiach.
And the thing about it is, when you go into 16, this right here is going into that time period of 70 AD when but like I said, it's twofold too, because it is talking about that, but it's also talking about the day as well, you know, through the spirit. You know, it's when it says the earth helped the woman, that's just basically going to how the Most High gave us a leeway to escape out of Judea, to escape out of Jerusalem, out of the land in that time period, to escape into the coast of Africa and whatnot, so that we could into the mountains, so that we could flee from the coming destruction. And that's what it's going to when it says the earth, you know, help the woman. You know, we fled away to other parts of the earth, and during that day. And then when it says and swallowed the flood was the dragon cast out of his mouth, that dragon, once again, you know, a lot of people who like to be you're more animated Jakes, who like to, you know, believe in all these doctrines, they say they think it's literally talking about a dragon, you know, spewing fire out of their mouth and whatnot. Nah, bro, this is talking about Esau, Edom at that particular period of time. The Roman Empire, the ancient Roman Empire, coming in with their soldier and their troops, you know, to out of his mouth, meaning out of his bellies, meaning out of his, you know, out of just out of his nation, you know what I'm saying, out of his kingdom, you know, to come and try to persecute us. That's why I said the earth helped them, so we were not taken over by what was cast out of their mouth, being their troops they sent to take over us. Now, of course, you had some of us that did, but you had a good amount of us also that fled away during that time period to escape to the mountains, the coast of Africa and whatnot, and things of that nature. I know a lot of you brothers have read the books, or some of you brothers have read the book Jews and Moors in Spain. You know, going to that in the Roman Catholic Church and all that shit. You know, just going, you know, basically fled away from all that, the blasphemous ways, and also the army that was coming as well. But verse 17, when it goes into, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of the Most High and have the testimony of Yahushua. Now that's going into the time period we in right now, man. The dragon, being Esau, Edom, is wroth with the nation of Israel. They're still wroth with us as a nation. They still hate us. They still want us persecuted. But as you can see in Revelation 16, it's showing that there's no new thing under the sun. You know, and it's showing that the Most High did not put it into anything, as Hitman read earlier in Ecclesiastes 4, because Esau, Edom was wroth with us then when he came to make war with us, when he came during the time of the Jew and Roman war in 70 AD, and tried to take us out the land and overtake us under siege and all that kind of stuff, and was successful in doing so. You know, that same energy they had then, they have it right now as well. Because this is just Roman. This is just the Roman Empire revived. Man, that's all this is. This is Neo-Roman Empire. That's all this. That's all Babylon is. That's all this society is as a whole. In this society, basically this society is Babylon because everyone is fornicated with it. That's all this place is, man. And they're still wroth with it. They still hate us. They still are mad they don't got the birthright. They're still angry with us. They still want to kill us, man. That's why the scripture's called Jacob's trouble, man. And I'm actually go to a precept out of that to get that remnant part as well. Because they still want to take us out even to this day. Back then in verse 16 and 17 now. This is the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, the 7th verse. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be shaved out of it. Who is that he? That remnant that Esau Edom wants. Because think about it. They already got 2/3 of our people. They already got the jakes that are drunk with their fornication. I mean, drunk with the wine of their wrath. That's drunk with their philosophies. Like it says in the Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. I'm going to just go to that real quick once more. Speak on that philosophy point. I'm gonna just pull it up on my phone. I always have a hard time finding that book. 2 and 15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that putteth thou bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look upon their nakedness. So that drink is talking about that wine. I mean, those philosophies, man, those vain philosophies, man. The Most High said, woe to them, mean destruction unto them. So they're gonna get killed because of that, man, because they destroyed 2/3 of our people via that drink, and 2/3 of our people are drunk on their society, or drunk on their programming, and can't get out of that drunken state. But that remnant is the ones that the Heavenly Father is working through. That's who they want. That's why it says the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. They already got, the ones that the Most High has marked for judgment. But the remnant, that's who they're trying to come after. That's who they're trying to program. That's who they're trying to deceive and get into, and change their mind and things of that nature, and corrupt their mentality and whatnot. And they're successful in some ways, but like the scriptures say, there are going to be many false anointings that rise up, but none are going to deceive the very elect. So they're not going to get that way. They're not going to get a far ways with it, but they are going to try. And I want to get another precept as well to go into that point in the book of Romans. Because they're going to try, but the Most High is going to perform great wonders. And to say the rim, this is the book of Romans 9:27. Isaiah also crieth concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. So it's going to put it. The Most High always puts an emphasis on that remnant, man. That's who the ones, like it says, the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant, the ones that keep the commandments of the Most High. That's that remnant right there. Let's go into another precept in Proverbs, the 15th chapter. This is Proverbs 15:25. The Lord will destroy the house of the proud, but he will establish the border of the widow. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. He that is greedy of gain troubleth his own house, but he that hateth gifts shall live. The heart of the righteous studieth to answer, but the mouth of the wicked poureth out evil things. The Lord is far from the wicked, but he heareth the prayer of the righteous. So that remnant, that righteous, the Most High says he's going to destroy the proud, the Esau Edom, but he's going to establish the border of the widow. That means the righteous of the nation of Israel, because we're all widow, we're like unto the widow because we're fatherless. Our father's not, really dealing with us right now. But he's still gonna establish that widow on high, that remnant that Esau Edom wants to destroy. So as you can see, there's always from the beginning to the end, there's a focus specifically on that remnant, because Esau Edom knows that there's an elect that the Most High has, and he's marking for salvation. He's molding for salvation, and ultimately going to seal for salvation. That's who they want, because the more people you can take out of that number, the more you can corrupt the nation, because you already got the 2/3 of our people who are going to be corrupted, who are going to die. The Esau Edom's not even worried about them. They already got them, but they want to take more and more from the remnant, more and more from the elect, because when you do that, that's when you really take down the nation, because you don't have as many righteous people to uphold and spread righteousness amongst the people. So everyone that they can take, every person they can convert from righteous to wicked, they view that as a win pretty much. And I'm gonna just stop there.
Hey man, shit, bringing out the precepts, bro.
God.
like 15 minutes ago. I was like, but hey man, hey, do y'all got any do y'all got any last final thoughts, man? Because we just did a full breakdown. Long story short, just to show y'all not what happened in the past, but what's to come, and all the things that you brothers are gonna need. And you got to remember, because like I said, the stuff that we just broke down, 99.99999% of the earth has no clue or understanding of what's to come. But through y'all brothers studying, having your due diligence, and taking this wisdom seriously, you can hopefully be saved. You can hopefully be raised up. If you brothers understand that you in the wilderness and you just got 10, let's say you got 20 11th hour Jakes, and these niggas talking about, oh, should we go into the wilderness? Should we go into the woods, or should we go back to the city? You're going to tell them, look, the Most High is a place for you in the wilderness. Then you also explain to them, the wilderness is not just the fucking trees. It's this. And then it's also talking about you have to keep moving, because the dragon is going to what? The dragon is going to try to swallow you up with the flood, man. They're going to try and go and cast out. And then also, when you brothers in the woods, you might fuck around and see spaceships falling from the sky, man. Then you know what? Okay, Yahweh Shah is here. All we got to do is stay. Then you see a chariot. There might be some people with you who don't understand what the chariots really are, but you do. So you going to go to the chariot. They going to run. So that's what this is all about. Whoever's going to be a shepherd in that day, whoever's going to be a leader, you got to have the understanding of the Bible, because we're not going to have YouTube and Blue Letter Bible and all these breakdowns, man. Once the famine of the word comes, it's literally gonna be what's in your brain, and that's why you got to get studied up. That's why I read what I read in Sirach. I'm not gonna bring it out because I got to go back up and get the Apocrypha, but it says a wise man, he hearkens on to the prophecies, man. A wise man, he does his due diligence to get the understanding from the Most High, because truth be told, if you don't know the prophecies, you don't really know what's gonna go on this earth, man. So at the end of the day, the one thing that we don't speak on this panel is lies. Why? Because again, the Most High's words is always truthful. So, and that's why this is extremely important for y'all brothers, man. So, y'all got any last thoughts?
I just want to say, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Lord, what is us was edifying for the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel and the nation of Israel only. Some heavy knowledge, heavy edification that gone out of the Water brothers, for doing this. Hey, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful lesson. We all got to get girded up in the spirit, because the times we outlined the times, Revelation 12, man. We headed into them times, man, and it's about to be a movie out here. So you want to be on the winning side of that movie, bro. This is what it is. But Shalom, Baba, keep the faith.
Khan, and one last point I wanted to get out. This book is the book of life. So when the day comes when we have to go to the wilderness, people might look at it and see this is a barren land or something like that. The Most High wants us to get in our heads, hey man, no matter where you go, if you got my spirit on you, everywhere you go is gonna be life, man. So you're gonna be in the wilderness, you're gonna have all the water you want, you're gonna have all the food you want, because you got that life in you. So with that, I just want to say, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kwame Yasharallah. I want to thank Young High Flowers for hosting the live stream. I want to thank the brother Malak for bringing out great precepts and doing this thing. I want to thank Kenton for bringing up his good points, and all the brothers watching. Y'all be safe.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you already know, man. Kahala Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rukakwadah, Shalom to you, Akim out there. May this lesson give y'all proper edification. May y'all brothers be blessed, man. And you already know, man, we're gonna be here tomorrow, man. So peace.